work Christmas party.
Right.
Yes.
I like to get drunk on life
Oh,
and Overwatch
Why are we
porn.
copying you? Did you just copy and paste, Robin?
pardon?
Because I said so, brother, and you like
Soul,
with
brother.
exclamation points, and you did the same.
Soul, brother.
So, brother. I just like his name.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
cool. I want to put a big afro wig on when I say it. Soul, brother. Right.
One last check. I can only assume Mark is asleep. So let's do this. Here we go. Rich, let us know when we're queuing up.
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing any music, so just say hello when you want to say hello.
Are we on camera?
We are. It's all ready to go. We're just on the starting soon. As soon as you start speaking, I'll switch over. No music today, so just vanilla stream. I didn't want to risk having our video banned in Kazakhstan again.
I appreciate that. And can people hear us as we're speaking right now?
We're on live now. Starting soon, but the voices
Real
are being
people.
heard.
The voices are being heard. Okay, I'm officially nervous now.
Oh my god.
Like you're so full of shit.
Yeah, we're doing it's live, people. It's live. All right, let's do this. Fire up that camera.
Okay, let's go.
Do the
put us-
thing.
Real life. Here we go.
We're on.
Start the thing, Rich.
We're on.
Are we started?
We're started. We're live.
Like live, like right now, live.
Do you know like when something's happening like live and you're seeing it live? That's what's happening now.
Okay, so we're as the meme goes, we're doing it live.
Doing it live.
It's live right now.
Live right now.
All right, Nicole, are you excited? Because we're live right now.
I am pissing my pants.
All right, that's good. That's
one of the predictions.
That is one of the predictions. Yes. All right, here we go, everybody. It is a special E3 episode of the Overseas Connection podcast, the official podcast of the G4TE.com community. That means something. Look it up. This is episode 375, which is kind of nice because it's a nice special number. It's E3. Well, okay, technically E3 is over. It is over, but we are going to talk about everything E3 today. We're breaking a little bit of our normal pattern to the surprise of, I think, everybody, because we never really break pattern. We're like Steady Eddie. We're the ship that doesn't rock. We just do our thing. But this week, this time, we are talking all E3. We're foregoing what we've been playing. We are not going to be doing community updates, all of that. That's going to happen next week. We'll catch everybody back up. For now, we are talking E3, Electronic Expo. I forgot what it stands for. Electronic Expo.
Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Yeah, Electronic Entertainment Expo. Thank you, Rich.
Yeah. Now, Greg, I wasn't listening to anything you were just saying, so I'm just going to jump right in and say this week I've been playing lots of Doom.
Rich, you are fired.
Okay.
You are fired. That is it.
See you later.
No. So, yeah, E3. It's this thing. So, if for some reason you listen to this podcast and you don't know what E3 is, I got nothing really. I would be shocked. Yeah.
Don't get too used to it because it ain't going to be here for much longer.
I
In
disagree.
its current form.
Yes, that I would agree. I think E3 is going to morph probably into a Gamescom type of show.
Do you think it's going to be just Twitch streams? That's it.
No, I think they're going to push to make this a public showing, and by having the public coming, it's going to force publishers back into the fold and back wanting to be part of it, as opposed to right now, publishers are thinking, hey, we can just host our own stream and do our own thing. We don't have to have a presence there because really the public's not there, and everything that we put out on video gets seen anyway.
It's not a trade show anymore. I'm sure there's backroom deals done with Walmart and people like that there. But as things move more and more digital, it is a bit pointless.
Well, it's become a time frame, like you said, Robin. It's not a trade show anymore. It is a it's a show
turning
for
into
fans, you know.
I mean, right? Yeah. I heard the bomb guys talking about not bombs, PAX. That at the moment PAX East. You pay a fortune to get a ticket. They're sold out completely.
Right.
I believe it's Monday is submissions for panels already for PAX East, which is absolutely crazy. So it's that's the big event, the public events. That's where the hype is created now. Where E3,
see, I
where
don't.
E3, okay, sorry, Sony conference, right? All about the screen. Microsoft, all about the crowd. You know, the camera panning around, and there's lots of crowd scenes. But if you didn't have that, we could have watched all of E3 on video reels and screens with a.
That's
with a
what
couple
Giant
guys.
Bomb did. They didn't even go
Yeah.
to any of the conferences.
Yeah, and they haven't been in
Um,
years. Yeah.
But so we're going to get into that because that's
Anyway.
actually part of a discussion for one of the conferences.
So who's here?
So yeah, let's talk about who is here. We haven't even got. We just jumped right into it. That's how excited we are. Greg DeLacy, my gamer tag is Murphy's Law. You can find me on Twitter, OC_Murphy's Law. Joining us this week, Mr. Background working OBS, our production guru, if you will, Mr. Richard Webster.
Hi guys, Richard Webster, Big Bad Daddy, and unlike IGN's knobhead engineers, I didn't leave the subtitles on at the start of this podcast.
Good lad.
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Although, a very funny side note to this, I was watching some gentlemen that were recapping E3, and they had done a YouTube video, and they were both, I want to say, Scottish, so really thick accents, very hard to understand. Yeah, and they had subtitles.
Wow.
They had subtitles so you could understand what they were saying.
Wow.
So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of people I rarely understand, Robin Tate.
Hey, it's me, Robin Tate. I'm sorry. Some people say that I require subtitles in this podcast. So if you're watching on video, Rich, sort out the subtitles. If it's audio, nothing I can do about it. Sorry,
Robin.
but I'm sure long-time listeners are starting to get used to me now. I actually do try and slow down.
Right.
Because one of the traits of being in from Northern Ireland is we do speak very, very quickly. And that's part of the problem. And we do understand each other. But
I actually I do understand you now. I do get everything. It all comes through. Although every once in a while you throw out things like flowers. Let's just face it.
Yeah, well, even you've made me aware of that now. You know,
Conscious. I love you to death.
You'll get me on Twitter at Bongo the Scene and on Xbox Live and PlayStation at Bongo the Scene. So I'm in Ballymena in Northern Ireland, and yeah, it's been a great, exciting week. It's funny how quickly it ended. It's a bit like Boxing Day or the day after Boxing Day at Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it just went, oh, right, we're done.
Yeah,
and all the build-up was gone, and all the wrapping paper was in the bin, and we were just, let's move on now.
Yeah, so we'll chat about that in a moment. We'll get through our introductions, but I do want to circle back to that because there is some interesting stuff that came about from this past week. Last but not least, Nicole Radowski. Nicole, you are our Southern Belle. You are our inspiration for getting new and exciting T-shirts. You know, you really just.
She makes us happy when skies are gray.
Speaking of which, you should be getting another T-shirt very soon. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I won.
It's a special T-shirt.
Suck it, Mark. No.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a giant owl on the front of it with two big
Too
eyes.
giant.
No.
You know, before I get started on retiring T-shirts, you can find me at Twitter, OC_Amaryllis, and Amaranth on Xbox, and Amaryllis on PlayStation 4 and the Steams. But yeah, I retired my Gears T-shirt. I will never wear that thing again.
Oh, sad times, Nicole.
Well, Gears 4 is coming out. I'm gonna have to get a new T-shirt.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's real quickly. So the vibe of E3, Robin, you were alluding to it. This was a different feel to this year's E3. I think that it started much earlier. We actually had two press conferences on Sunday. So you know, E3 no longer started on Monday. Now it was starting on Sunday, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like E3 really was kind of encapsulated in 2 days' time, Sunday and Monday. And after that, really anything else that came about from E3 was just kind of recapping what we heard from Sunday and Monday.
Well, it's funny. I mean, this afternoon I was doing a wee bit of work in this room here, and I had the Xbox One on and the E3 day one, day two, the Tuesday and Wednesday thing with Larry and Chobot and a few of the other ones, and they were like maybe 2 hours long each.
Right.
And there was actually a ton of extra stuff that they chatted about and talked to him more in depth than you actually got. But then again, I suppose the conferences have always been it's a quick hour and a half apart from EA or UB where they sit and talk to people for ages. So it's very, very hard. The points to hit. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was enough. Maybe the big stuff, maybe the big news was enough. Or maybe the problem is we knew too much before E3 started.
That also could very well be. Nicole, did you want to?
No, I'm agreeing. They let so much slip.
Well, and so I was listening to, I think it was Giant Bomb. They were talking about like Microsoft when they arrived and they were looking at the pre-show when Microsoft was doing a lot of their kind of walkthroughs and run-throughs, and like anybody could have basically faked their way into that conference. That's my gut feeling tells me somebody snuck into one of their dry runs of the conference and either just sat and watched the whole thing or stole somebody's like crib sheets on it and basically got the lowdown on the whole conference, because I mean everything that leaked out just before was spot on.
Yeah.
Rich, what about you? Do you find that E3 is feeling different to you, or is it still holding the magic?
It's still exciting to watch and to be a part of, and to just watch like your YouTube subscription feed just fill up minute by minute with new video after new video. But I mean, kind of evolving from last year, it does feel as if E3's over before it's even started. Not only with the release of like leaked information, and not even just leaked information, but publishers and game developers actually putting information out weeks before. It seemed like every day we were getting something that should have been saved for E3, to the point where by the time we got to E3, it was like, what else is there to talk about?
Right.
There were some things, big things discussed this year that I think were really good, but overall, come Tuesday, I was done. Like and like you said, there wasn't anything else. It's not like on Wednesday, Rockstar were like Red Dead 2, boom, nothing was out. We got more videos of the same stuff. We got longer videos of the same games, and we got maybe like clarification on features. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean that sums up very well kind of the rest of E3 at that point. So yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
we're being all down in blue, but I really enjoyed what I seen.
No.
Well, yeah.
I don't want it to sound down in blue, because to me, E3 still holds a very magical moment, and it still has that electrical feel. But for the first time in a long time, it felt very condensed, as opposed to, even though it started much earlier.
But I also hear on the ground, Greg, that there were halls that were empty this year.
Well, 100%. Yes,
very sparse.
They shifted a lot of people didn't come in terms of game developers, and I think that is a problem they need to solve. But I look at an event like Gamescom, and that is, I think, if E3 wants to be relevant, they take that approach, which Gamescom, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I don't know, you let me know, but it is open to the public on the last 2 days. Of the conference.
So. And it is the biggest gaming thing worldwide.
And the first 2 or 3 days are press only and the conferences. To me, that is the perfect blend for E3. And that actually would take, I think, a lot of the wind, if you will, out of the sales of like shows like PAX.
But did they not also have a mini E3 somewhere running in some of the other hotels for the public at the same time?
They experimented with that this year. That was the first time they had done it. But again, I go back to the notion of, I think that having it off-site, having it away from the main E3,
takes away from it.
It hurt it. Yeah, I mean, one, also publishers don't necessarily feel like they need to support it if they don't want to, or game developers even, because that puts an extra strain on them. So I think having it all in one conference hall, and then allowing, just media the first couple of days.
I suppose if they can get the big six
Mm-hmm.
The main 6 over on a Sunday and a Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday open to the public.
Right.
That probably works financially as well, because I mean these things aren't cheap to get into either. I know EGX for a 4-day pass is 60 odd quid, which is $100, I suppose.
Right.
So,
And I mean,
$105. So
I know Gamescom is open to the public. I think it's free. I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, if they charged some kind of ticket price, I have no doubts in my mind it would be a success. But again, I think you have to have it in the same area, because this way you still have the big publishers. You have the spectacle of E3 is then consumed by.
Yeah, well, I mean, behind all of these shows, just like EGX, you've got Eurogamer behind it. So if you think about Euro, just because this is what I know, and I know the figures. So it was, what was it, 50,000 people?
Mm-hmm.
Something, so you take 50,000 people, day ticket, if it's 1 day only.
Right.
And it's over it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sold out all days.
Right.
So, 50,000 times 20, 25 quid. There's a big bit of bucks there. Plus, they're selling the floor space and all the other bits and pieces. So somebody behind all of these shows is making that money. Somebody has to run those shows. So it makes sense for them as well, not just because the floor space is getting smaller, the stands are getting smaller, the big companies are taking a private hotel or a private theater somewhere. So how the E3 people that are E3 making their money? So they have to open it to the public, really. That has to be the way of it, to turn it into a PAX type thing. So anyway, I think that's probably the future of it. So
All right. Well, enough of that. Let's dive into the conferences. So I guess we should start. We'll go in order of how they appeared. It just kind of makes the most sense. So everything started off on Sunday with EA, and we have some highlights from some of the smaller conferences. We didn't maybe cover them as in depth, but the highlights from EA, and we can talk about this, I guess in an interest level.
Yeah.
So,
well, first of all, Andrew Wilson is a handsome man. The CEO of EA. He came out in that sharp suit. I wish I was him. I used to be that slim and swell.
I thought he was a Hugo Boss model.
Yeah, flipping heck, Tucker. He was, he brought out the metrosexual in me, that man. Oh.
I've actually got video of him right now, so I'm going to play some video of him. Where are you? There you go. Yeah, and Robin, I've got your face overlaid, so just smile. He is a handsome son of a bitch.
It's really disturbing.
Yeah, and then Peter Moore swans on for some reason or other on the stage in London. And he was showing Madden in London.
Yeah, I love Peter to death. Peter's actually one of my favorite executives all time. But I will say this about the EA conference, and we'll talk about the games that were shown in a second, but I felt like EA once again felt very light on content. I felt like they had a lot of filler things that they did, which they are apt to do. They've done it for the past couple of years. They have kind of these documentary type videos of, here are the games that we have that we're making in production, but we don't really have anything to show off now. And then here's the soccer coach that really doesn't want to be on stage for this EA FIFA presentation, but he's going to be here and we're going to make bad jokes that just don't go anywhere.
Sure, agreed. Peter Murray dropped that one, so he says, does your son, what is the mode in FIFA, frig?
Ultimate team cards?
Ultimate team, does your son have an account? Yeah, it's on my credit card. Oh yeah, lots of money for EA. And the bill came down.
That FIFA demo thing, that whole thing was just proper cheesy.
Yeah, so a lot of this conference to me felt pretty. But let's
rattle through it. Titanfall 2 was the first thing that came up. And
I'm excited for Titanfall 2.
Yeah,
story mode. The first one. It's just got a story mode.
It has the bond between Titan and pilot.
Okay.
So you are now Jack Cooper, rifleman, and the pilot has been killed for the Titan. And I kept on thinking, I don't know about you guys wouldn't get this, but Rich, when I was watching this, I just thought it was an advert for British Telecom, because the Titan was called BT7274, and it kept on calling BT, 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 and it's like an old British Telecom phone advert.
Yeah.
But you know, the Titan does a karate chop now. I thought it was kind of cool. It was
Well,
sort
so
of,
there's 6 Titans now. So there's 6 different Titans. They've got
Good.
different abilities. Yeah. So I think they've addressed, or at least seemingly addressed, a lot of what there were concerns from the previous game. Single player added. They've got more Titans. They've got more progression things in place. Although I haven't fully seen what the progression looks like, so I am curious about that.
no, multiplayer was good, but it needed more guns, needed more weapons. That was always a thing that, you know, like COD, you could progress through, and there was more weapons and more upgrade lines,
Yeah,
and
the
it was
thing about
pretty
COD,
standard.
and even Battlefield to a certain degree, if you think about it, is that they introduced all of these customized weapons, and your loadout became very personal to you, and it was a way of differentiating yourself from your friend or somebody else.
Yeah.
So, Rich, you never played Titanfall. Are you excited for the opportunity? I believe it's going to be on PC. It's going to be on the PlayStation 4. Well, that's another big part of this.
Well, I'm not really into the shooters on PS4 because I'm not very good at them. So I'm really, really, really crap. I mean, I'm not the best shooter player in the world anyway, as it is. Apart from Battlefield, because I own ass. I own brothers on Battlefield.
Right.
But Titanfall was on PC, Titanfall 1. I skipped over it because it was just like, why would I want to play this when I play Battlefield? But this one kind of looked a bit more interesting. It did something else, especially because Battlefield's going in the past. This could be my futuristic shooter.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, and the one thing again this year, they were an awful lot more solid with dates. This is October 28th.
Yes.
And that was the thing all the way through a lot of conferences. They learned from Bethesda last year. This stuff is coming, and it's coming this year, or it's coming now, or it's coming, you know. So yeah.
to skip over a couple things real quickly. One, Battlefield 1 still looks fantastic, still looks great. I think we've talked about this enough at this point. I don't necessarily know that
Battlefield 1, Patrick back.
it's gonna have a single player.
Behemoths, horses,
Map.
zeppelins, trains, and ships.
Yeah, everything.
Dynamic weather. That was the big thing that came out this week with it. Dynamic weather. That'll be a game changer inside there if in the sun and then in the rain and in the moon.
Well, if you think about in World War I, one of the major issues was the trench warfare and the rains and the mud, and I mean, trying to scramble out of a trench when it's completely soaked and muddy, that's no easy task. I wonder if that plays a factor.
If you have a muddy bottom.
Well, maybe. Anyway, so Battlefield 1, it was there.
Yep.
Madden 17, FIFA 17, sports games, they look great. They've got new things that they're doing.
Oh, shit. Sorry, we'll have to cut it. Sorry. As an English... I'm not an English person.
You kind
As
of
a
are.
person from Great Britain,
Yes.
FIFA, I have to tackle the story mode of
yeah.
FIFA.
Let's talk about this. So they added the one thing that nobody asked for.
So I hear on Twitter, lots of people said that Alex Hunter was a real football player. So this is the character that came on at the beginning of the presentation, the dark chap,
Right.
And they thought, "Oh yes, it's me, this is me, this is me." But no, he's just an actor. And so, yeah, that's the journey, and you're going to be focusing on his life and the choices he makes. And I wonder if they'll introduce a WAG for him. Like the wives and girlfriends. Will he have one of those? Will that be a
WAG.
problem with him? Yeah.
I don't know.
But of course, then it's very slow. I mean, there's probably going to be tack. There was a basketball game once that did that sort of thing.
It was last year. Was the
it?
the NBA live game
Right,
where
okay.
they had it was done by Spike Lee. Was he kind of produced the story?
Drive-by shootings, stuff like that. There, no, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I can imagine this being a bit twee and tacky. But again, quickly they got back to there's going to be 4 major modifications and transformations within the game, and it's going to be the biggest update we've ever had. And then Jose Mourinho came out. So
That was the horrible part. But let's face it. Every year they tell us this is the biggest updates they've ever done. This is the most advanced it's ever been. And maybe to their credit, it is.
I wrote down brave for trying something new.
Yeah.
So
good luck on that. Mass Effect Andromeda got, again, kind of like a Vidoc treatment. Some people were complaining they weren't seeing actual gameplay, but I think through some of the screens we did actually see some gameplay, like with the Mako and that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm still excited for Mass Effect. It's next year.
Yeah.
It's not this year.
No. It got me. It had me. It had me at the name of the ship, which I wrote down somewhere and I've forgotten it completely here.
Well,
Yeah,
let me while you're finding that ship name, Nicole. I know you were super excited for Mass Effect.
Oh, hell no.
No, not really. No, you don't like.
I
Mass
can't
Effect at all?
stand that damn game.
It's
There's
amazing.
nothing that's going to make me ever want to go buy any version of it.
But there was a really sexy woman shepherd type person in it as well,
Who the
and the
fuck
ship was
cares?
called the Tempest, and it looked mean.
Mass Effect is just amazing. It's so good. Oh,
It is a
God.
good game. It is a
It's
good
funny
game.
though, because you guys sit there and drone on and on about how freaking wonderful this game is, and power to it, good going. And then Kim and I are just like, WTF every time. We don't get the appeal.
Because
You know
you
what?
apparently do not appreciate having sex with foreign aliens.
Yeah, that's it. I got my.
That's totally what it is.
I got all up in
Yeah.
that blue ass as soon as I
If
could.
it's
Yeah.
a hot dude alien, I might. Never
Electric,
Yeah, but hot
Electric
blue
Blue-
chicks. I'm just saying.
Electric Blue has a
It's
whole
the
new
electric
meaning.
blue chick's
Yeah.
not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a problem.
But even
right.
collecting models of spaceships is not good to hang up in your room. Feeding fish.
I'm not a 12-year-old boy. I'm not hanging model spaceships in my room.
Yeah, just shagging a unicorn. Then on you go.
No unicorns.
All right. So Mass Effect was there in spirit. I this was part of some of my disappointment with the EA
Yeah,
conference.
not enough of it. Yeah, that was the
Um,
the montage.
Right.
It's almost a montage. No montage.
And then they did the same thing for Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Rich, were you
Yeah.
surprised that we weren't getting more info either on Star Wars or like gameplay from Mass Effect in earnest?
Not really, to be honest. I don't expect a big show for Mass Effect because of when it's due to come out. And Star Wars, they don't really have to show anything. They could just show a screenshot and people will buy it.
Right.
Pretty much, I wrote filler, but I want it all.
Yeah.
So, look, they've spent a fortune on this license. They're gonna they have to keep on spitting stuff out.
I reckon
They-
is a prediction for next year, guys. Sorry to jump in there, but I think we're going to get a Star Wars trading card game like Hearthstone. I reckon.
It's it's on the
It's
way.
there. It's
Yeah.
already there. There is one already there on iOS.
There's one on mobile. Yeah, I was gonna say on
Yeah.
mobile.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
but I mean,
so
for
it's
me,
just
the respawn thing, the tie-in with Dice and Motive and respawn, the third person, they showed a bit of mocap stuff with lightsabers. That could be interesting.
Yeah, but
That
again,
does-
it's impossible to put any context to that. They
Yeah,
showed
it is, yeah.
the
Could be interesting,
actors
yeah.
in suits doing saber fighting. So to me, that says this is probably going to be a young Jedi story because they were kids, if I remember correctly, that were doing the motion capture. So I see the the young Jedi story coming.
I would love to have seen more from the Amy Hemming side of things too, where there's some meat for not real gamers. That's wrong, but some meat for a really good dark Rogue One initial Star Wars sort of thing, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, another montage.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of promise in the Star Wars games, but again, I don't want to dwell on it because we really didn't really see that much from it. And the last game that I want to talk about that didn't get put in our notes, but they did bring up. So the EA partnership program is not dead; it's still alive. And so the people that gave us, what was it, Yarny? Was that the name of the game?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. So they put out another game.
Unravel. Yeah.
Unravel. Sorry, yes, Unravel. But this game is called Fey. I want to say
Fee.
it was called Fee.
Fee.
Fee. And I could not have been more turned off by this game.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
bland looking, and here they're trying to describe this as being this really colorful and unique looking game. And all I could think of is Ori with no color.
Yeah, but everything had its own song, Greg.
I
It
fucking
had its
don't
own
care.
song, and the silent ones came along, and I know, and we were live tweeting or live chatting about it at the time, and I kind of think I'm gonna love that.
I
No,
kind
I-
of think I'm going to hate that.
Now, unfortunately, they did wheelbarrow this guy out, going, the sort of stuff from last year. That guy came
Right.
on and I took my family camping and we made a little yarny and we came up with this and it's so wonderful. And they brought out another nerd, but he didn't have the same charisma. And they tried to do the exact same thing that they did last year, and it didn't work. And it didn't have the beauty or the isn't Yarny gorgeous? Because even the character looked a bit like Ori.
Well, it looked like Ori, but it didn't have the style. I felt like from a graphical standpoint, the game didn't look.
Yeah.
It just didn't look exciting, and that's probably the best way I can put it. It looked boring. The color palette was boring. The gameplay didn't seem terribly exciting, and everything has its own song. I at that point wanted to throw up.
I know, but the game developer is called Zoink.
The only
That's
positive
good.
that
They get
came out
points
of
for
this,
that.
yes, okay.
They get points for that.
Rich or Nicole, either of you, do you have a opinion outside of love or hate on this one?
I'll say that it looks like a really, really well made game, and I think they've created quite a lot of stuff and some intricate systems, but it doesn't interest me at all. Not in the slightest. It's not even itching like me Nintendo scratch. Nothing.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I don't have a Nintendo Scratch, but I'm with him.
So for me, I mean, the final thing I would say about them, the most awkward moment for EA for me was they announced Play to Give, which inherently is a good thing,
Right?
Because they're gonna somehow or another monetize and collect money for charity,
Right.
For charities like He and She, Special Effect, Code 2040, a few other places, and they announced this, and one person in the audience went, and that was it, and it was like silence for 5 seconds, and let's move on. It didn't get I think they probably expected to get a round of applause for it, but it fell completely flat. So I mean, that was. But apart from that, you know what? It flowed quite well. It wasn't too long. There was some decent stuff in there.
I disagree
and
with
teasers.
the flowing quite well part. I think
Compared to Ubisoft?
I'm not trying to compare. I'm just saying on its own. I don't necessarily know that it flowed well because I thought the sports elements ground this conference to a halt.
Yeah, but they gotta have those.
And
then
then
they're not for us. They're for other people.
really, this conference was a tale of a start that was exciting and a finish that was exciting, and then everything in between sucked.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Jesus, do you remember they rolled out the guys that all played Madden? And they all looked like they'd never left their bedrooms.
Right. Yeah.
It was terrible. They were like superstars. And then when they announced them, and
these are all champions.
And patted them on the back. I'm going, we're the man on the stage. Okay. Probably came from all over America for that 10-second moment of fame, and then they were all carted away again, never to be seen.
I like that carted away.
Yes. So EA, let's give quick letter grades. We'll do this for each conference real fast. Letter grades from each of us. Nicole, why don't you start? What would you give EA for their conference? Letter grade.
Probably
So
a
how does this
C.
work?
C.
So it's like A is good, C is
Yeah,
bad.
A is
Sorry,
good.
sorry,
F is the worst.
Yes, F would be the worst.
It's
A
A,
is-
B, C,
Yes.
D, F.
So Robin, what would you give EA?
A D.
A D. All right. Rich.
I'd give him a C.
All right. And I am with Robin. I would be giving them a D. So
I'm a hard marker.
yeah, I'm right there with you. So
Must do better on my notes. There you go.
can you please send that to EA? Here's your press conference review. All right. So next up on Sunday we had Bethesda. They took the stage, and again, this is one of the newer publishers to the scene that's doing press conferences, and we've often wondered if they had enough in their tank, so to speak, to be able to hold a press conference. They sure as heck did it last year, and again, I would say this year they had quite a bit of content and threw it up out there. So threw it up. Yeah, so they started up, and I think this is in order of which they appeared. So I'll run through this. I did not catch this conference. I missed this conference. So they had Quake Champions.
So disappointed. So disappointed. Quake is my game. Quake is the game that I cut my teeth on in multiplayer. Quake is the game that I organize gaming events for,
Right.
with loads of people to come along. They carried their bloody PCs. We networked them with cables back then, and I really wanted them to do a Doom with Quake. I really thought that was going to happen.
So you're not on board with Quake Champions. Rich, what about you? Quake Champions?
It looked all right, I suppose, but I wanted a Doom like Quake as well. I wanted a remake of a rehash of a reboot type of thing.
Yeah, you think about Quake. Sorry,
No,
Greg.
it's okay.
You think
Go
about
ahead.
Quake. It was so friggin' weird. I mean, it had so many different styles. There was gothic stuff in it. There was knights in armor. There was skeletons. There was all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, and it never should have worked, but it did, and that was magic. And it spawned Capture the Flag and Team Fortress and all of those. That's where it really, really started. Doom, great, and it's brilliant. What they've done with Doom is brilliant, but Quake was really the start of multiplayer madness. Oh, it was. Oh, I want that back again.
Huh?
I want my quad damage. Oh.
Not disagreeing. I mean, I thought Quake Champions looked good, but it's not a game I'm looking forward to playing. Nicole, I'm pretty sure I know your answer on this.
What do you think my answer is?
That's exactly the attitude of the answer. Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know this is any of our quote unquote bags.
It's not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah.
Not my bag, baby.
That was kind of just.
Please don't.
Yeah. So yes, Legends. I don't know what this is. Is that Elder Scrolls Legends?
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Legends.
Is it a card game?
It is.
Fuck off.
Yep, Hearthstone
Next.
with Elder Scrolls.
Yep, keep cruising.
There's only one card game that came out of this conference that I care about, and we will talk about that later.
Yeah. Pokemon Trading Cards 2017, obviously.
Absolutely.
To quote a great member of our podcast, fuck Gwent.
Not there yet. Skyrim Remastered. I think we actually had a prediction on this. But Skyrim Remastered came out. I'm really mixed on this. One, I thought it looked good. It looks good. I'm not disagreeing with that. I just put so much time in Skyrim. I
didn't finish it.
Well, I didn't finish it either. But you know what? I kind of put in enough time with Skyrim. I don't know. I'm not excited about a Skyrim Remastered. I don't know why. Rich, I believe you are a huge Skyrim fan. Are you excited about this?
I am, for technical reasons. It's got to be 64-bit.
Yeah.
It's going to have better lighting effects and texture effects, similar to Fallout 4's engine. And it'll just look... I mean, yeah, PC... People say, like, the PC mods make it look better. And it does, but those effects that they're going to hard-code into the game... To get things like that, you need to use things called ENBs, which are like separate...
Tiny little microbes.
Yeah, obviously. They're like separate like DLL files that like inject post-processing. So people with like these boss ENBs halves your frame rate. Whereas these are hard-coded, new effects that are going to be like built into the game, and it'll run on better graphics cards because it'll have like 64 bits engine. And I think the exciting thing for you guys is the console mods.
I'm right there with you, Nicole. Nicole, do you understand anything he just said?
It was
All I
about
know is he
microbes.
probably wet
Microbes.
his pants saying it. That's all I
Yeah. I'm excited
He
for the
is
mods
so
too,
freaking
Richard, and I
excited.
totally understand a base Skyrim on PC that is meatier for you guys is exciting for the PC modding community as well, because it won't be as much strain on a processor as you can, because all that stuff's hard coded. I get that, and
Exactly.
I understand microbes. Microbes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, the console mods, what do you think, guys? Like, Frostfall is one of the most popular Skyrim mods. It makes it into, like, a survival game. Cold hurts you, and you've got to sleep, and you've got to camp, got to eat. You know, that sort of thing.
mean, that's exciting. I don't care. I'm right there with that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a fabulous idea.
Yeah,
However,
it's-
I didn't
it's-
finish the first friggin' game and played way too many hours on it. So
It's nice
while I
fan
see
service.
I'm
It
not
is.
going to go buy the game because I probably won't. I'll probably end up forking over at least half because I console share. And that person that I console share with
benefit from it. Yeah.
is like a mad hatter when it comes to this game, just crazy for it.
Yeah, so it's funny. I love Bethesda RPGs. I love that they're big and that they're massive, but I've also come to a conclusion. One thing I don't like about Bethesda RPG games is that their
big and
dialogue, their dialogue and their stories are not terribly compelling.
No.
They don't make me want to finish that game. And the direct comparison or contrast to that is CD Projekt Red with Witcher 3, which that game pulled me through and I wanted to finish that game. Whereas with Skyrim and Fallout 4, I got just enough into it where I was kind of like, okay, the conversations were all kind of the same, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't compel me. And I love their games, which is funny to me to hear me say this because it's contradicting what I'm saying. I like what they do, but for some reason they don't do enough to want me to finish these games, and I think that's why I look at Skyrim Remastered. I'm like, I don't care, just because I only got as far as I did with Skyrim, the first one, remastered or not remastered. There's nothing pulling me or saying I want to go back and play that game.
It's times like this I wish I could see Rich's camera.
I know. He's totally like mad.
No, listen, guys.
No, he's staring into the thing. You can see him on Twitch.
I agree with you, and the reason is because nobody really plays Bethesda's RPGs. Well, nobody with a brain cell, because there are better stories out there by far. Nobody plays these games, I think, for the stories, because you guys understand that a lot of the people who enjoy the Elder Scrolls say that Morrowind is the best one. You've probably heard that before, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly because of the story, because of the dialogue, the backstory, and the guy who wrote all the lore for the Elder Scrolls stuff, he left after that. He's gone. So the people they've had since, not knocking them, but the people they've had since have kind of taken this on a different type of route. It used to be intriguing, now it's just fantasy. I think the reason why CD Projekt Red have better writers is because, and this might sound a bit weird, but they're European writers, and I think the fantasy, gothic kind of stuff is part of the historic culture of Europe.
And that's the reason why we friggin' will stay in Europe.
Exactly. Well, no, the EU.
Oh
not
God,
Europe.
no! Shut up, Robin. Do not
there.
poke the bear.
So you see what I
Oh
mean?
my
Like
God.
all the fairy tales that we have in real life, those fairy tales come from like Polish and Germanic history. So I think their writers sort of are really into that kind of stuff, whereas I think the American writers not so much, because I mean Bethesda's RPGs,
America's
like you
not
said,
that old.
it does seem weaker compared to the CD Projekt Reds, and I think that might be why. That's just a theory, game theory.
It's potentially part of it. I think the other part of it, which Fallout 4 tried and did dabble into it, and it wasn't the worst. Quite honestly, Fallout 4's story out of all of the Fallout stories, I think I actually liked probably the most. And that's because they did voice act the main character. So one of the things I didn't like about Skyrim was the fact that you're, again, this, you don't have a voice main character, and I don't enjoy that. And that's old school RPG of, you're the character, so we don't want to put a voice to your character because we want it to be your own voice. Well, I don't like reading text. I don't, that to me is not exciting RPG. So I like having voice acted main characters.
It worked in Fallout, I think it did, and I look forward to them doing it in Elder Scrolls 6, because they're going to piss off so many people. It's going to be funny to watch the internet just break.
Oh, yeah.
But it'll be really good. I think it'll be a really nice change, because I liked it in Fallout, it did.
Well, and I thought they did a decent enough job in Fallout 4.
I'm going to speak for Kim here. She said that she played Skyrim for the story, that it wasn't as good as Witcher 3, but she liked it.
Yeah, I like the
That's
story.
why
in
she's
Skyrim.
not on the show, by the way.
Hear that, Kim?
All right. So Skyrim Remastered, it's coming. Then I thought the most exciting announcement out of possibly the whole conference, Prey is back. It is basically a reboot, reimagining of the entire series. So it's not a continuation of the original Prey.
Yes.
Robin, I'm just watching your face.
I
But-
have one big problem with it.
What was that?
It's 2016 and it was sent in 2032. So that ain't happening.
Yeah, probably not. But hey,
I
it's
never played Prey. I know it was one of those launch type titles, but I never played it.
I liked Prey, except for I did get nauseous with the whole walking upside down and trying to shoot upside down because they had all these inverted pathways that you could take to get in and around the spaceships, and it just completely threw me out. I could not play the game, but I really liked the story of that game and liked the premise of it all.
Yeah,
Prey
there's no
looks
way
good.
I'd have been able to play that without vomiting on my controller.
That, and I do remember all of the alien doors and this alien spacecrafts looked like angry vaginas
Buttholes. Yeah.
or buttholes.
Where is
You're
Prey?
sucked in by a butthole.
I'm trying to find the video for Prey and I can't find it. I keep getting
We're
mixed up with
good.
Dishonored.
We're moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, no, it looks good. No, sorry, I agree, Greg. Prey 2 looks really good. It
Yes.
is.
What
Then
about Fallout VR? You never mentioned Fallout VR. Is that not a big deal for you guys?
Nope.
No. Moving on.
Jesus. Do you remember,
we have a
what was I
sound-
saying about Gwent?
Moving on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they did mention that Fallout 4 will be playable. The entire game in VR, correct?
Yep. VR.
Yeah.
Fallout.
The interesting thing I heard about that, and it's worth noting, is that as far as the reviewer could tell that was playing the demo that they had, no VATs. So there was no way to do the VAT system. It was all just real-time shooting, which that to me made it a little less interesting because I love the VAT system in Fallout.
Maybe they just didn't have it in the demo.
Maybe, quite possibly, but I would
Maybe
then go back
maybe it
to
doesn't
say,
work yet.
fine.
Maybe it makes people sick. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So then we got some Elder Scrolls Online Tamariel information.
Next.
Yeah, next, moving on. The Bethesda VR stuff that we just talked about. And then Dishonored 2 kind of closed out the show. I mean, it looked really nice. It's Dishonored, which I know a lot of people really like that game. I was not one of them. I never could get into Dishonored. I don't know why.
No. I played 5 or 6 hours of it, and it was all right. But I'm not. I don't think I'm just a stealthy dude. I mean, you know what to do to mics. So how am I going to do that
Right.
again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's a good point,
So,
Stealth is not in his wheelhouse.
No. Nicole or Rich, did either of you guys get into Dishonored?
Not once.
The first one? Not once.
I played
I'm-
an hour or two and was like,
So
next.
clearly, this announcement was just for us.
Right up my
I seen-
arsehole.
I seen the guys at Eurogamer. It must have been 3 years ago now, and they'd done the demo, like the trade show and the big launch thing of it, and it really did. It looked fantastic, and the guy that was demoing it was demoing all the powers and the birds, and he was really good at it, and the guy was OP, he's perfect, and it looked fabulous. But when you actually got into playing it, I just felt it was clunky.
Yeah.
It felt clunky.
And you know what part of that may be?
Well, and clunky.
First person stealth is not good
Mm.
because you don't know if you're actually in cover. That's the advantage of third person viewpoints for stealth games. You can see that you're actually in cover. You feel like you're in cover, whereas in first person it's like, well, am I hidden behind this crate, or am I sticking out a little bit? Wait, no, I need to move over half an inch. I'm not in cover, or am I? Am I in cover? Can you see me? I don't know.
I suppose we can't really knock it because it's supposed to be the best stealth game out there. I mean, what was the game that was
Thief.
It came Thief. It was the game that Thief should have been, and people rave about Dishonored. So enjoy your Dishonored. I don't think it's any of our
Right.
We aren't fans of it here. So
Enjoy your Dishonored. We hate you. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's Bethesda wrapped up. That is the first unofficial official day of E3 done.
Oof.
And
Scores for Bethesda?
yes, scores
10.
for Bethesda.
A, B, C, D, or F. Damn it.
99. Now I'll give them an A because they did a lot of things for Tamriel, for Elder Scrolls Online. People really like that game and some cool little things, a few bits here and there. I'll give them an A just because I like them. I'm biased. I don't care about being an unbiased journalist. Fuck that.
Fair enough.
Nobody cares anymore. You're okay.
Robin, what
I
do
will
you
give
think?
them an F
An
because I think total fail because last year they had a point of being there, and the point was Fallout. This year there was no point. There was no reason why the stuff they showed couldn't have been done mixed in with Sony or Microsoft, or the other publisher, Sony or Mixoft or Nintendo. So there was no point. There was no real big hook there. So it was like, oh, we did that last year. It was such a success. Let's do it this year. I thought it was a bit of a fail. So
I will give them a C. Probably would have gone D, but I felt like their conference was better than EA's, so I couldn't score them lower than EA's. So just from so not counting the games, more just kind of looking at the conference as a whole and how I felt about it, I would say C.
I'll agree.
it's because of the buttholes from Prey.
Yeah, pretty much.
I agree. C. And because of the buttholes.
And because the buttholes make everything better.
Really?
All right. Then we move into
Fractured.
Monday. We all woke up. We got our coffee. We set our do not disturb for our work phones.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just you.
I know. And
Work summers.
and then we fired up to see the Microsoft conference. So this was actually not the longest conference, but I think the second longest. I think Ubisoft was the longest, but I think Microsoft actually was technically the second longest conference of the show. So they were a just over an hour and a half. They started off introducing the Xbox One Slim. So this is 40% smaller, which when you hear 40% smaller, I don't think it gives a good perspective of how much smaller that actually is. But they did on screen, and of course you can see it now out there, comparisons of the original Xbox to the new Xbox One S. It is much smaller.
Is it like as small as a Wii?
40%.
It is actually, it's about the size of a PS4, but I don't think it's as deep as the PS4. The PS4 is very small width and height-wise, but if you look at the depth of that box, it's actually pretty long. So I believe it's smaller than that, but it is very small. It's
40% smaller would make me look like
two controllers
Andrew
long.
Wilson.
yeah, it's 2 controllers long. There you go. It has a Ultra HD Blu-ray player in it. It supports HDR lighting, which we'll get into that in a moment. And it is going to start at $299 for the base version of the Xbox One S. This is just for you, Nicole.
Yeah, our journalist
I
found
know.
us.
Which
Our
is the
journalist broke this news.
Yes. Nicole broke this news to us. It is the 500 gig model of this, but they're going to have iterations of this all the way up to the 2 terabyte version, which is $399. So there you go. Xbox One S. It's a smaller version of the Xbox One out there now, but it does have some benefits. It supports 4K media output. It does ultra high definition Blu-rays, and it also supports HDR lighting, which only matters to anybody out there in the world. Only matters to you if you have a monitor and or television that supports HDR. If you do not have that, this does not matter to you. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what does it have? It doesn't have a Connect port, but if you have a Connect that you want to use with it, they will supply you with the dongle.
Yes.
there's
Everything else is there.
No TV out. There's only one HDMI port. There's not the two. I don't
Not
think.
true. Not true. They
Is there two? Is there?
have the HDMI in. They have the
Really?
HDMI out, and
Okay. The power brick's inside it.
Yeah, Power Brick is inside of it.
Bad news.
They also included the IR sensor.
See, Nicole, you say, and I've heard Greg saying about the power brick, but Sony PS4 sounds like a bloody jet. I hear more and more people complaining about the noise of the Sony PS4.
I don't
Getting
have
noisier.
that problem with mine.
Okay, all right. Just all that heat and that transformer inside that tiny box can't be good for heat. It can't be.
Well,
and I know it's a space issue for people, but God, you just hide it underneath something.
So it remains to be seen
Anyway.
if this is going to be an issue, Robin. I mean, I would say this. I would think they would be shooting for parity in terms of noise levels.
Yeah, so.
They do still have a very large fan on the top of it. You can see if you look at certain shots of it, you'll see it has that ring outline of the large fan on top. So, everything's been shrunken down on this console, basically. So
Cool.
It's a mid-step, but I think really this is a step for somebody that wants 4K.
Yeah, none of us are about to rush out and buy one unless we need a second console.
Yep.
I'll just,
I'm not about to change it.
I need a second console, but I'm not going to rush out and buy it either because you know what? It's coming out. It's being released in August. You can pre-order it now. And then we start off September. You'd only have to wait. And October is about the time that all the games start coming out. All the specials start coming up. You have Black Friday. You'll have that Cyber Monday. There will be all kinds of stuff. Boxing Day, everything. Christmas. You name it, it's coming out. So there will be price drops here and there. And I'm not going to rush out and go get it.
There'll be fantastic deals on the big one.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm waiting.
Well, interestingly enough, they've already reduced the standard Xbox One to $279.
I saw that today.
Yeah.
$279.
That's a good deal. It's a good price.
I just want to.
I know. So I'm like, so should I? Because I need a second one because I'm tired of fighting my kids. So do I go just do $279 and be done?
It's a good question. That's a really good question.
I'm like, or do I upgrade and do? Because I'm like 2 terabytes.
I think it all depends, Nicole. I mean, for the question at hand is, where are you going to be putting the second console, right? Or for anybody that's looking to potentially upgrade, do you have space issues? Do you have 4K support? Because quite honestly, I would say this: if you don't have a 4K television and it's only a 1080p television, honestly, I don't know that I would be saying go out and buy an S. I would be saying just get another standard box.
And the problem is, I mean, I do have a second Xbox, and it's a 500 model, yeah, and it's in the other room, and it's the main machine. As far as my account is concerned, even though the one I don't use the most is in here, the one I use the most is in here, but that one that's in there is automatically downloading stuff, and it's full to the brim,
right?
And there's so little on it. Where I've stuck my USB drive in here. And it's not full. It's running at about 80%. Plus, I still have the original Xbox hard drive to stick stuff on as well. But the 500 is no good for any console these days.
Right.
Mm-mm.
That is definitely worth noting.
Because I'm at almost 80% capacity with the 1 terabyte.
Yeah. But being the nice thing about it is, and that's a surprise for Sony actually, that they didn't announce that or couldn't do that. Is that you can whack in a couple of USB drives into the Xbox. That is a fantastic feature for size. Anyway.
I mean, the other option would be potentially looking to see if you could find a deal, Nicole, on the Xbox Elite console, which has the hybrid solid state drive in it. So, anyway, all right. So,
I'm still excited for them, though.
I mean, it is an option, and I do plan on getting a 4K TV this year. So, to me, there's some attraction there with this, but we'll wait a little bit to have a further discussion. So then Gears of War 4 came up. Gears. We're very excited. Rich, you were a big Gears fan, if I remember correctly.
I was a fan of the campaign. Yeah.
Right. So now the Gears 4, and this really, they not only announced Gears 4 is going to be a Xbox One and Windows 10 game, but they also introduced Play Anywhere, which This is the new initiative from Microsoft. All of their first-party titles moving forward are going to be a one-time buy, whether you buy them through the Windows 10 store or you buy them through the Xbox store. You buy the title digitally, you will get the Xbox One version and the Windows 10 version, and you can play it on any device. Your saves will go up to the cloud, and then you can basically jump to whatever box you want to play it on. That's how it's going to be working.
And you know what? It's one of those pointless things, a bit like wireless play, that you can play your stuff on an iPad, stuff like that. There, it's not meant for everybody. It's a nice feature to have for this household here. That'll be cool because my son has a big PC, and both my boys do have now. So they can take advantage of that. To say that I'm gonna play my game on my Xbox and then go and play a bit more at work when the boss isn't looking, that's not going to happen for most people. And most people don't have a really, well, I don't think there's a lot of them out there, but I don't think many people have a really powerful laptop that they take on business trips with them that they can play in their hotel room. Right. So it's just a nice feature. It's not a big thing, but it's a nice feature, and it's moving the whole Xbox platform to become all encompassing. That was a big thing for this conference, that it was all more about, it's not just the console, it's the PC, it's the QAM, it's the whole thing now come together, and that's good.
Right. Well, and then this was a huge announcement for people like Rich.
Yeah.
Rich, you've been a long-standing PC gamer. I know you have a PlayStation 4, but suddenly, now you're an Xbox player by de facto.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because I skipped the Xbox this gen, and I kind of missed out on some of the games. But I think what they've been doing, Microsoft, is a nice step in the right direction. Every single game, I can't think of a first-party game that was shown that wasn't coming to PC as well. I can't remember one, so I don't think there was.
They didn't. The only game that wasn't. All of them, all of their first-party games actually. I should say, yeah, they all were. Mm. All were Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive.
And I think that's really good.
I think it's a very smart move for them. I think it's moving in a direction that they want to move in. At the end of the day, Microsoft is a Windows-based company. That is their core to everything they do is Windows. So having, moving consoles and PC gamers into the same kind of ecosystem, it makes sense. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, I'm not going to buy an Xbox now. I'm just going to play on PC. I'll show them. That's like, really? Okay. Congratulations. Buy Windows 10 or have Windows 10 on the machine that you have and buy their games from the store. I don't think Microsoft really cares.
No, they just want to ship games. They just want to ship games, and I think now what they've been smart to realize is the fact that the PC market, die-hard PC gamers do not buy consoles, and they're missing out big time on sales to get for those games. Do you know what I mean? Like Gears, like what they're showing there. I mean, the first Gears of War did come to PC, but we didn't get another one.
Right.
And it does seem silly that, like we've seen in interviews with Phil Spencer, like 15 years ago, Microsoft published games everywhere on the PC, all over the place.
Right.
So I think they've thought to themselves, look, we can't beat Sony in the console market this generation. We just can't. We're halfway behind or whatever. So, but they've got like 150 million PCs with Windows 10. I mean, I've just made that up, but they've gone, let's sell our games on there as well. Why not?
Yeah, why not is the correct answer. And so Gears 4 out this holiday. Horde 3.0 was spoken about, so it is coming. We saw nothing from Horde mode. We did see gameplay. Weather effects apparently are their big thing. Some crazy windstorms, flying stuff everywhere.
Bodies
flying. Yes, dead enemies suddenly becoming lifeless and flailing away into the wind.
So weird. You guys talking about that? That's right on the video now. That's the bit I'm on. You guys just talking about
really annoying chat. Really annoying chat. Banter between the characters was just really tacky and horrible.
I'm hoping they fix that. I really do, because I know we've talked about it before. That it was like the same 5 or 6 lines over and over, and they were dumb.
That's a problem actually for a number of games that were actually shown at E3 this year.
I'm hoping. They fixed that.
Characters that talk to themselves. Yeah, I'm with you, Nicole. Totally with you.
I think I should go over there and check out that letter.
Right. Thank you for that
Yeah.
newsflash.
Maybe this old thing will work after hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
And this boy here, I showed up.
I know.
I was looking an awful lot older. I look
I
old
was
and gray.
when I saw that, I squealed, didn't I? I
Yeah.
squealed into the headset.
Yes, Marcus is not dead. He's alive and well, just a little bit more gray.
Still hot as ever.
And aren't we
Yes.
all feeling that?
Loved the knife move with the gun, spiking them and chucking them over the head. That was good. There was some really cool new moves in that. So
Yeah, it
Gears,
looks fantastic.
whoa!
It looks fantastic. It does look like more Gears. I mean, I'm not going to hide the fact that it's more Gears. So that's either a good thing or a bad thing, depending upon where you sit with Gears. I think ultimately.
yep, that's good for me. Great.
So from there, Rich, I think next up would probably be, maybe they're showing off Killer Instinct at this point. They introduced General Ram was going to be the next playable character.
Yeah, I called that with my missus.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, this is going to be General Ram. She was like, who? I was like, you'll see.
He makes for a perfect character, and it's funny because Killer Instinct has morphed. It's not only Microsoft's fighter, but it has morphed into kind of their
Smash Brothers?
yeah, it is their Smash Brothers. They've been introducing guest characters now consistently, and
been
it's a smart
Nintendo'd.
move. Nintendo.
You said Smash Brothers. I thought Smash Burger. Now I'm hungry.
Oh, Smash Burger. Mm.
What is Smash
I know,
Burger?
right?
Write that down. Where Smash Burger?
Yeah, Steve, there's one in Florida.
Next up, they showed off Forza Horizon 3. And again, all of these games, unless it's a third-party game, are
Throw
going
my
to
money
be
at the screen.
Oh,
Throwing my
God.
money at the screen.
Xbox One. Forza Horizon 3 looked fantastic. Set in Australia.
G'day.
They had rally racing, buggy racing. I mean, it looked great.
Four
I
players,
actually am
jump
gonna
in.
buy a racing game without my kids begging for it first.
Yeah, Forza
know what?
Horizon. Yeah, 4-player co-op. Go in, drive around the world, have fun, jump
Yep.
over things, that sort of shit.
The buggy
Brilliant.
stuff looked like Motorstorm, didn't it? It just
Yes.
looked really good.
Yeah, it just looks fun. I think that's what really I got the inspiration from Forza Horizon 3, more so even than the previous ones. This just looked like a fun time.
I have another tick on my page.
Next up was Recore. This is the title that a lot of people actually were just really curious about because we hadn't seen any gameplay. They finally showed off gameplay. It is an action platformer. It is Armature Studios, and I forgot the guy that did Mega Man is basically
Mega Man, yeah.
yeah.
So it's sort of.
Studios.
I'm reading more about what the show is going to be like, more sort of Metrovania platform shooty. It actually looked a bit lighter than it did last year. It looked a bit sort of cartoony, is what I wrote down. It looked a bit lighter and light, not big and heavy and serious.
So
I like the animals.
yeah,
The little robot pets.
Machanimals, yeah.
Yeah.
the Machanimals.
Yeah, they look-
The Machanimals, yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
all
so
had
they
names and
each-
personalities.
Yeah, they all have personalities. They all do different things. And the other good news about this title, which I just learned about yesterday, was that this is
Wow.
going to be $40.
Wow.
Whoa!
not-
Take it all off.
Yeah, it's not going to be a full $60 release. It's going to be, Microsoft, I guess, is kind of looking at this as a, maybe a B tier game because I don't think it has multiplayer. I don't know the full extent. I want to say they said it was going to be around 12 to 15 hours, but maybe I'm making that up. Don't quote me. But so it's going to be a $40 game. I think that's going to help this game out a lot. Just it's a new IP, and maybe that's something they're wanting to do with some of their newer IPs. Maybe a lesson learned from Sunset Overdrive. Maybe try and put it out at $40. See if it doesn't help get it kind of share in the marketplace because it's unknown.
It's where I keep on comparing it to the Sony one, the Sony robot dinosaur game. What is it called?
Oh, Horizon, but you can't compare the
Yeah,
two. They're so
yeah,
different.
but I know, but last year, in my mind, they were kind of similar, but they've separated now this year.
Yeah, they've definitely separated.
I just think it's interesting. I think it's interesting.
This to me feels a little more indie than it does necessarily like big AAA publisher kind of game. I'm still very interested in it. Absolutely on board for it for $40. Heck yeah. Rich, had you seen this game before?
I saw the reveal trailer last year, and looking at the gameplay this time, it wasn't really something that interested me as much because I was more interested in the Horizon Zero Dawn thing. But for $40, with a bit more of what we saw this E3, I think I could probably pick it up. I think it looks really interesting. Just, a quick, let's see this new IP, let's see where it goes. For $40, they might even be thinking of like DLC packages and stuff like that, to feed a bit more sales later on. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Then, quite honestly, the worst moment of the entire press conference, and possibly almost all press conferences, the Final Fantasy 15 came on stage and they did a demo, and this demo was just horrible. The guy playing...
Can I read out what I wrote down?
Please do.
What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, so
big monster.
Yeah, so
badly played.
He's facing off against this giant, like golem-like creature, and the guy keeps, the giant creature is taking his hand and sweeping it down like in a sweeping motion to basically knock everybody over. And it seemed like this guy continuously just jumped in the way of the hand, and then the animations looked horrible. There was all kinds of collision detection issues, and I just was like, this is the worst display of a game I've seen in a long time.
It went on probably 3 minutes longer than it needed to.
I was gonna say.
It looked like the guy. It was whether he was playing it there or not, or whether it was on video, and he looked like he was playing it. If he was playing it, he wasn't that good at it, or he failed. It took longer than expected. Just no idea what was going on. There was another game like that later on somewhere, one of the conferences as well.
Well,
Scalebound, that was kind of similar too. So,
fact,
what the hell is this? What is this stuff?
What is this shit? This isn't Final Fantasy. This is not what Final Fantasy is. My girlfriend nearly walked out of my life because I knew what this game was called. She was like, "What the hell is this game?" I said to her before, "What game stuck out to you?" We watched all conferences together. I said, "What game stuck out to you the most?" She was like, "That bloody Japanese one that was shit." I was like, "Oh, you mean Final Fantasy?" That's the only one she could remember because of how bad the demo was. It was just horrible.
Yeah. And what's funny is it was shown off later on at the Sony conference, which we'll talk about, of course, later on. But they did a sizzle reel, and that looked really, really good compared to what we saw on the Microsoft stage with the demo of gameplay.
But that's what it is.
Right. I'm with you, Robin. I'm not a Final Fantasy fan at all. Next, we saw Division had some DLC coming out called Underground. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. And I'm going to try and speed up a little bit here. So Battlefield 1, we saw gameplay. We've already talked about it a lot. I think a lot of us are excited for this game. It looks fantastic. Enough said. Xbox Live came next, where they talked about some new features they're building into Xbox Live for community members. So background music coming. Language choices are now going to be baked in, so you can choose the language of your choice natively. Okay, whatever. Cortana is going to be coming out hopefully a little faster than she is in her current state on the Xbox One. That will be in the fall this year. And then clubs and communities was announced. Similar feature, I think, to what Sony introduced on the PlayStation 4 this past April, I think, or March timeframe when they brought it out. They also have looking for groups, another way for you to connect up to players that play similar games.
Okay.
And you can now set up your own tournaments. So the arena was announced, which is going to start off, I think, with publisher-sponsored tournaments, but they said you eventually will be able to create your own tournaments. So I think it's very much similar to the app that came out called Gfinity.
Yeah.
So that may appeal to some, maybe not to others. Minecraft and Minecraft Realms was announced. I should say Minecraft Realms was announced, not Minecraft was announced. So this was the point of the conference where I think my eyes glazed over. But
Me
Nicole,
too.
I know you took some notes. I know this is
I
important to
did.
some of our community members. Some people suckered me into buying this game because they love it so much. Dorian. So Nicole, talk to us. Realms, what is the deal?
It's cross-platform, so it doesn't matter if you have The iPad edition, if you have there's a smaller version of it that my kids have that I can't think of right off the top of my head all of a sudden. It doesn't matter if you're playing on a PC, Xbox, whatever. You are paying for a server.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can join the server. Doesn't matter how they get there. The server, now like I said, pre-show, depending on which one of Mojang's tabs you click on to go get information on this, will depend on whether it's 20 people or 200 people that can be on the server. I'm going to go with 20 because everywhere it does say that 11 can play simultaneously.
Okay.
And that's the host plus 10 people can all be online at the same time. So right now they're offering, and again, like I was telling you with the tabs, depended on if it was a 14-day trial or a 30-day trial. But either way, they're offering you a free trial.
Okay.
So if you want to try out the server, it's there. Try it out. It's pound $6.99 for 30 days or $9.99. £18.99 for 90 days or $26.99. And then $33.99 for 180 days or $47.99. And then they also have recurring subscription, which is the same price as the 6 months bundle. So they'll break it down for you that way.
Okay.
If you remember in the days of Minecraft when G4T servers were going and Mark or Dorian were leaving an Xbox 360 running
right
all the time, it probably cost more than £6.99 to run that for a month. So for somebody that is a fan and really into it, that's probably a good thing. That's probably something that they want. So
no, it's great for the community. Yeah. And Mark and I've actually discussed probably opening up a community server.
Yeah, cool.
And
the end is nigh.
And having people be able to come in. If you can have up to 200 people registered to play, that would be fabulous.
I'm wondering if that might be the case.
And so if it's only 20, not so much.
Right.
You
but
know,
I want to say communities, if I'm not mistaken, I thought they said the clubs were up to 200 people. So possibly this might be in that same vein of you can have 200 people that would be in the quote-unquote club, but only 11 can access it at any one point in time.
Which would I don't know. Yeah. Which would be cool. I mean, and like I said, it's great. It's great if you want that for the community. And I could see us totally doing something like that, having our own little podcast group, because there were a bunch of us that did play it together, and there was some fabulous stuff created. Fabulous.
Yeah. I've heard stories of people raiding one another's houses, leaving poop on things, and all kinds of craziness.
No, we buried Dorian a lot.
That's also that's a popular thing. Rich, is this exciting for you? Are you a Minecrafter?
No.
Thank you for that solid answer.
Next.
All right. Next, they came up with this. Actually, was a very ingenious thing. I don't know that I will take part in it, but and it's going to highlight something that I forgot to actually mention. So the Xbox Design Lab was next brought up. So this is where you can create your own customized controller. Different color combinations. They said they have like 8 million different color combinations. I've been in the design lab and looked around at it. I think the 8 million, I mean, I'm sure statistically there are 8 million design combinations, but the color options were far more limiting. So there were about 12 different colors per item that you can choose. So I guess from that, because you can do the bumpers a different color, you can do the back plate a different color, you can do the front plate a different color, you can do the start and the hamburger button and the view button. You can do those a different color. You can do the buttons different colors. You can do the thumbsticks different colors. You can do, I mean,
a
lot of
we get the bloody point. It's a great Father's Day present, great Christmas present for someone, great Mother's Day present. Now, nice somebody that likes their Nike trainers.
Here's the important thing to note: it is it's the new controller that is being offered up in this, and this is the new controller that came out with the Xbox One S. which they talked about briefly in the conference, saying it has an increased range. What I didn't know is the new Xbox One S controller and these controllers all have Bluetooth inside them as well. So you can hook them up to your PC via Bluetooth if you want, or you can hook them up traditionally through the traditional dongle methods or just direct wire. So that was an interesting piece of news that I didn't know beforehand. So I thought I would throw that out there.
What's the
Isn't
cost?
that fabulous?
I believe they are $79.99, and if you want to do the personal engraving, where you can actually have your gamer tag.
Yes, I
etched.
saw that.
So the laser etching adds another $10.
But still cheaper than that absolutely gorgeous Gears controller that
Yes.
they also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
Gears.
$200.
Yes, the Gears of War 4 Elite controller was displayed. It's a collector's piece. Let's face it. If you are an avid Gears fan, you're going to shell $200 for that.
I'm not though.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm an avid fan, but that's $200
I'd put
that I
200
can buy groceries for my kids
or a console.
or a console, and give my kids my console.
There you go. Rich, do you have any desire to maybe make your own custom PC Xbox One controller? Rich might have stepped away. I probably missed this.
Well, I want to get one I want one that's black, and it has black triggers and black thumbsticks, and it has yellow and red and a blue button on them, and black bumpers. And I get the personal.
You can
No,
make black.
the only thing is, I've a rake of controllers, but I also have my Elite.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to do anything extra with Elite.
Not as of yet, but I think it will come to Elite.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's lovely that they're doing all this stuff,
No,
like
it's cool.
the S and the controller. There's a bit of thought being put on the stuff that all of these small little things add up to a fantastic package.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, though, Robin. It is a good gift item. Maybe not necessarily something you go out because you need to have an extra controller.
Yeah.
If you need an extra controller, go buy one on sale. I mean, you can save yourself some good money there. They did a sizzle reel of all the ID at Xbox games coming along. There were a ton of them that came out. I don't have all of them listed here, but
Cuphead again and all that sort of stuff.
Inside.
Oh, that was what was coming. That thing that people are crazy about. And you too, Rich.
Yep.
Who isn't there? Stardew Valley.
Yep, Stardew Valley.
Well.
That's coming.
Yeah,
and in fact, Inside, by the way, July 29th or June 29th or 28th. I don't know. It's coming very soon. Then from there, they talked about We Happy Few.
Oh, yeah. Let's have a rap pinata.
Yeah. So this is the BioShock-esque like game.
That game.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell thought that was a good idea?
Yeah.
But
I thought it was very brave of them to show as much as they did. And I mean, that was to show, because that was a strong, bold, arty game to show. And it's weird and interesting. And it wasn't mainstream whatsoever. So brave to show that. So, it's interesting.
That's like the nightmare version of BioShock.
What I'm excited about, though, is it is coming to game preview, which means there will be an hour free trial to at least test it out. So you can see if you might want to invest. Next up, Gwent. Gwent is coming as its own standalone game. Hallelujah! The skies opened up. Very excited for Gwent just because the moment I played this game in The Witcher 3, I immediately thought this should be its own game. It needs to be its own game. And sure enough, they finally listened and Gwent is coming. And it's coming a beta in September. So if you are interested, there's a way to sign up for it. Go look. Then let's see here. We have Tekken 7 and also in quotes, winner of best dressed presenter. Mark threw this in there to my notes, or maybe you did, Robin. I don't know, but
no.
The one of the main developers of Tekken 7 came out on stage and displayed Tekken 7 coming to the Xbox One this year, and he was in full on, like, I don't even know what you call it. The I want to say like the Buddhist monk garb, but it's not. I'm doing a horrible job in offending many Japanese people at this moment in time. But
Oh, he was in
was-
oh yes, he was in traditional Japanese attire.
Yes.
He had
Okay.
Was it a Kyoto?
everything.
Is that the word for
that's
it? A Kyoto?
city in Japan.
no, it's not Kyoto. It's Kimono.
Komodo.
Kimono.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
it.
Kimono.
kimono. Yes,
This is how
Kyoto
much
is a
we
city.
all know. He was in a Kyoto, Kimono, Kimono.
Ooh, Kyoto is a town.
Hiroshima. Let's move
Kimono is what he was wearing.
Cinema.
Ah, yeah. A dragon.
Tekken 7 is not worth having this conversation over.
No, it's not. But they did give
No,
one
but
away
his
free.
clothes are.
Yes, his clothes were. And sunglasses. I forgot to mention, he did have on sunglasses. I mean, the dude looked dope.
Yeah.
Dopey.
And they give
He
Tekken
might
3
actually
as well.
have eye
Backwards compatible.
issues.
I was just playing. Just saying.
He did look dope though.
Did look
so
dope. Dope.
Tekken. Okay.
Tekken, yeah, it's out there. They gave away Tekken Tag Tournament free on backwards compatibility all this past week. If you haven't gotten it by now, you may not be able to get it anymore. Then Dead Rising 4 was announced. It's Frank West is back. They're revisiting the areas of the first Dead Rising, but it's not a reboot of the first Dead Rising, hence Dead Rising 4, Internet. This means sequel, not a reboot. Looks very much Dead Rising. It looks like it could be fun. It's coming out December 6th this year. It will be a Xbox One, Windows 10 timed exclusive, and it will be coming to quote-unquote another platform sometime next year. So we don't
Another
know what-
platforms.
yeah, we don't know what that platforms may be, but it could be one of two things. Obviously, PS4, or they might bring it to Steam. Because right now, it's going to be a Windows 10 only store, Windows 10 store. So maybe they bring it out to Steam. Because Dead Rising 3 did come to Steam. Anybody excited for Dead Rising? You should be. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I know. I
Dead
know you
Rising
had lots of fun with 3.
Yeah. Dead Rising 3 was fun. I'm very curious to see what Dead Rising 4 is like. And being that it's a December 6th title, this is going to be one of those games that's either hit or miss. That's typically not a great time to release a AAA franchise, but we've gotten things like Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Trying to remember, did Blood Dragons come out then?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
think
so
so.
we've gotten a couple gems that have come out in the December timeframe, so it's not all is lost. But
Which one of the zombie ones is this? Because they're all starting to run together.
one of the zombie ones. This is the over-the-top crazy zombie ones. You can
Is
dress.
this the one where they're doing the whole Christmas thing,
Yes.
Yeah.
like in the game? Okay, that actually looked funny to me.
Yeah, it did look fun.
Yeah, and that's really what it boils down to. It is a fun take on zombie killing. Then they showed off Scalebound. So this is the big platinum game. It's not coming out for quite a while. It doesn't come out till 2017 as well. This is Japanese craziness, headphones. You've got your dragons.
It's not as annoying as it was last year.
Yeah, last year definitely they had the more platinum feel to it. I think this is a game that doesn't necessarily present well on stage the way they are presenting it. And I don't know. I have some hope because I do like a lot of what Platinum does, but there's been games I have not enjoyed of Platinum. So I'm reserving judgment on this one. It wasn't something that wowed me when I saw it on
It's
camera.
like a Monster Hunter sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a co-op as well. So it might be good, yeah, but nah. Don't know enough about it.
It's hard to know. Next up was Sea of Thieves.
Oh yeah.
This looked
looks
amazing.
thrill.
Yeah. Sea of
Can't
Thieves.
wait for this.
So, Rich, you are on board with pirate goodness.
This game just looks so good. It looks like if
No, Rich, stop. The right answer was R.
yeah, that one. Yeah, it just looks like everything like Fable and Banjo-Kazooie and everything just rolled into pirates. It just looks so good.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, one thing they did, and this was a critique of a lot of games. So they had some players they brought in to play the game. They filmed them, so you hear their voiceovers as they're playing the game. My understanding is this was genuine voice from the players playing the game. That being said, I don't know that's the best way to show the game.
Yeah, I know, but lots of times, if you remember, like the division that they showed was last year, year before, it
Yeah.
seemed all stiff and
Oh, totally.
staged.
And then we'll get
This,
to that. We have some of that later on to talk about, but
yeah, this felt natural.
it
It
felt more
did.
natural.
Yeah.
I don't know that it helps sell it to me. However, one moment, and this is the only moment that really made me laugh and resonate well with it, was when the guy goes down to the underside of the ship and he's like, "Holy crap, we're sinking!"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
And I
And
was
they got
just like,
drunk. They
"That
got
is
drunk.
our community in a nutshell." That
No,
was
I love it.
nuts.
Well, I love the possibilities here that you can go exploring, just
Right.
out with your mates. You can go and blow shit up,
So
or and try and survive.
I
Or
am.
you can have a party boat, just get drunk.
There's
Is this the one that was well scripted?
no. This was not scripted at all.
No, it was like they brought in a crowd of people that had applied to come and play it. It was their first play,
Okay.
and they sort of it was like hidden camera sort of thing that they videoed them playing it, and their interactions with it, and it was joyful. And Craig Duncan from Rare, I met him last year at one of the I think it was Rez, I think last year. But he had a Goonies T-shirt on, and that just sets the tone for this game. It's that sort of Goonies fun, and you're right, Fable, Rich, absolutely. It just looks like a great community thing. I can't wait for it. Can't wait.
That's so
My
good.
Looks cool.
my one concern, and this was just based on kind of what I've learned since. So it is 4-player co-op. When I was watching the video of these individuals going out and getting onto the ship and stuff, I mean, you literally had to man this ship from like setting the sails to to steering the ship to pulling the anchor up. So if I don't have 4 people, am I going to be able to actually get a ship to run? Am I going to be stuck on land if it's
Yeah,
just
well,
yeah.
during that interview with Phil Spencer, Jan Baum, they
Mhm.
were talking about some of the stuff that you could man, and the Rare guy was there after Phil
Okay.
on the Baum. He was saying, yes, you could, of course, go out and sail a ship by yourself, but you have to
Okay.
do everything by yourself.
Okay.
Or you can fill it in with randoms. I don't know if there'll be AI support to help you there as well, maybe, but I'm sure they'll have thought of that. Don't you know? I'm sure you. If it's
I
only
these
only
days I
play
don't
with 4
assume.
players,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, maybe hopefully, like if you're on your own, you can just press a button to draw the sail or something
Yeah,
while you're
maybe.
steering.
possibly, or you'll have AI helpers there if you wanted, maybe.
Yeah, I
Like
hope it's
AI.
cross-play as well, like
It is.
cross network.
is.
Ah, so
Yeah,
good.
it
Everything.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Otherwise, I'll
Yeah,
be playing
so
on my
that was
own.
good. That's another tick. There was a few sort of
Yeah.
not minuses.
Then
but
they announced State of Decay 2.
frig, this looks good.
Yes, this looks fantastic. This is the follow-up to the fantastic State of Decay. However, I will say State of Decay was not the smoothest running game. So I think, there's hope that they have refined things. They've got a little bit better engine running now. It looked better. And the original State of Decay came out on 360, so keep that in mind. It also came to PC. It ran much better on PC. They
Yep.
ported it to Xbox One through the 360
Another
code.
tick.
But yeah, so State of Decay 2 it looks really good. That's another zombie game, but this zombie game, as opposed to Dead Rising 4, which is fun, and the other zombie game later that we'll be talking about, which is more Last of Us, if you will. This is State of Decay is all about kind of almost like an RPG base building game where you are building out your community. You have to
Oh,
take
yeah.
care of everybody in the community, and then you're still going out and exploring and coming across zombies and having to fight them off.
Have to be popular.
You do
to
well. You did.
popular.
Maybe that'll be different in State of Decay 2. We shall see. Then they announced or showed off. I should say not announced because we knew this was coming. Halo Wars 2. Also PC, Xbox One, crossplay compatible. Buy it once. Looked very Halo Wars-y.
Yeah, but we didn't actually see him playing any of the game. It was just all CGI, and
No, but
which was it. But it was famous for that anyway. You
I
know.
can confirm it is Halo Wars-y. The beta was very frustrating. So they launched a beta this past week
That's right.
from the 13th to the 20th. They had a lot of issues with the game getting caught up or hung up at launch. So you would go to launch it, it would hang up. They had to release out a patch. The patch finally came out, made it better, but it was like 3 solid days of just frustration on my end. Like I would start this thing up and I would get into a title screen, it would freeze. Start up, get into a title screen, freeze. And every once in a while it would go just a little bit further, and I thought, oh, here we go, freeze. So I finally got into it and got to and on Friday, and was only able to play a very brief period of time. So I mean, it is Halo Wars. It's a good thing.
Same sort of idea, yeah.
Very similar ideas. It does
all units.
Yeah, it doesn't appear they're deviating from the formula too much, which I think is a safe play. I don't know that's the best play. It's definitely a safe play. So I'm hopefully going to spend some time with it tonight, because I want to spend a little more time and get to know if they really tweak some things that were more problematic in the previous game. So that was it for the games, and the conference was over, right? We thought...
Okay, sorry, but sorry, before you talk about the thing.
Right.
Crackdown was missing.
Yes, Crackdown was not there.
Which was quite a surprise.
Well, Crackdown has been pushed to 2017. They did confirm that.
All right, okay.
But remember, Gamescom is just around the corner. So I am highly confident we will be seeing Crackdown at Gamescom. And that's, I think, what they did last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did a hell of a few things over Quantum.
Yeah. Oh. So I do suspect we will have a few different games that are going to be pushing into Gamescom. So, conference we think is over. Not quite yet. There's one last thing. So Phil Spencer took the stage, and Microsoft announced a second console. Project Scorpio. This, of course, had been leaked just prior to, also rumored about for quite a while. So this is, I mean, there's no way to put it. I mean, it is the monster machine, 6 terafloppies, 4K power, GPUs up the wazoo. Yes. So it was interesting watching the reactions of everybody on this. I mean, they did a very nice montage video of developers talking about what they wanted, and they had people like Todd Howard on there, and it felt very genuine. We've asked for this kind of console. This gives us, as developers, a lot of power. But then people started to wonder, well, is this a new generation? Are they launching a new generation? And so Phil Spencer on stage and in subsequent interviews was very careful to say that we are not leaving anybody behind, that this is, and it's still at its core an Xbox One. It is the most powerful version of the Xbox One you can get. So if you're looking at it in tiers, you have the base Xbox One that can do up to 1080p video games. Then you have the Xbox One S, which is a smaller form factor. It can do 4K media output and ultra, Blu-ray drive. But ultimately, it also is going to be limited to that 1080p video game output. And then the Xbox Scorpio is their 4K box. This is the game box that they're saying they're developing to basically put forward games at a resolution of 4K. Now, they said 4K, 60 frames per second. A lot of people have been saying that is probably overly ambitious. Even at 6 teraflops for the GPU, that 4K at 60 frames per second is extremely difficult to achieve for just even a 6 teraflop card today. But that's in the PC realm. I don't know what they have in store for the CPU, because they didn't really talk about the CPU other than it was an 8-core CPU. They did say that the memory bandwidth was up to 320 gigabytes, and this had VR support. And they did say VR, like high-end VR support. So obviously this was their kind of dig at saying this could support Oculus or Vive. And then, of course, it is Xbox One compatible. So any Xbox One game would play on this machine. And in subsequent conversations, they've basically alluded to the fact that much like the PS4 Neo, this is a machine that is not going to have Scorpio-only games. This is going to, the Xbox One games are going to be Xbox One games for all 3 of these units. So that then kind of throws out the question of, well, why? So I think the obvious answer and the most straightforward answer is they wanted to make a more powerful box than Sony. They want to have something on the shelves that they can say this is the best console out there. And the reason to get this is if you have a 4K TV. If you have a 4K TV, this is the only console out there that's going to be giving 4K games, according to them.
The boyos that bought Xbox One on day one will be ready for this when it comes out in 2017. You'll be ready at that stage for it. And whether there won't be any Scorpio only games straight away, it's the next step to the next big thing. It will be the step. And
I agree.
wow,
It's a step.
you know, wow, I mean, fantastic, great. You know, think, well, why not? Why? But why not? Why the hell not? Why not make a monster truck console? I want it. I want now. I want a monster.
I got your
Give me a-
monster. Nicole, I know you are, wanting a new Xbox. Is this giving you pause, or are you still in that mindset of, does it give you pause? I guess it's a great question for you. It's a great question for anybody considering a possible console either upgrade or change, because it is over a year away. And we also know Sony does have the PS4 Neo that is going to launch some magical time in the near future. We don't know when, but we know that they have acknowledged that it exists. So is it giving you pause as a consumer, or is it just something that you're feeling isn't necessarily for you anyway?
What would Marcus buy? What would Marcus buy?
I don't have a 4K TV.
Right.
So don't get, because I like power.
Right.
I used to modify cars. I get the whole, power thing. But honestly, this is something that it's not coming out till next year. And there's a lot that can go on between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when it finally does come out, I would probably still end up waiting another year or two. And by then probably go, okay, this might be a good investment now.
All right.
But I don't think I would run out and buy it day one. I mean, the power's good, but again, if I don't have things to support it, like a TV or a monitor, if I don't, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm getting older. Gaming may just not be in my future.
Blasphemy. Rich.
I know.
Rich, what about you? Is a beast of a console like this, is that something that excites you?
Do you know what? It does, because I have a 4K TV.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's 12.
Yeah. No, hold on. We've been talking about TVs. So we wind back 10 years ago or less that, it was all 720p, non-high def TVs, all that sort of stuff, or less than 720, sorry. And then most of us have 1080p available TVs now. So in a couple of years' time, 4K TVs it'll be the standard as well. And
Yeah,
they'll
and-
be cheap down in Walmart or Best Buy, as well. So that'll come to that. But right now, it doesn't make any sense. We've no frame of reference for the Neo or the Scorpio right now. But in a couple of years' time, yeah, it'll be an exciting thing. But
Yeah.
right now, it's just tool time. It's just him. More power.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah. I mean, I know Microsoft was somewhat concerned about confusion in the market, and a lot of people have been talking about that this potentially creates confusion in the market. I mean, there's really two ways you can go about it. I mean, Microsoft could have kept this a secret, and they could have not said anything and just had the Xbox Slim out there, and then months down the line, they announced the Xbox Scorpio. But I think as consumers, from a consumer-friendly standpoint, this was a good gesture on their part, because we know it's out there now. We know that they are coming with this, so you can't
Working
say
on
you
the future.
didn't know. So if you buy an Xbox One or an Xbox S now, you're not going to be sitting there thinking, I had no idea they had a Scorpio coming. And likewise, you can now say, you know what, I'm just going to wait. Or maybe I wait for the best deal possible. I don't know. Rich, going back to you, I know you were saying this does excite you from a 4K standpoint. So does that, are you now thinking I'm going to wait for holiday next year to find out kind of what's out there?
I'm not sure, because the money that this console is going to cost, if the Xbox One S right now is £350 on Amazon, like for an Xbox One Scorpio, whatever the cost may be, I could just buy a new graphics card with that money and have like a kind of 4K experience, because I'm running a GTX 970 now. It's great for 1080p, pushes to 1440p, but
Right.
me office now, I don't have my 4K TV in this office, it's downstairs, so it might be nice to have that 4K experience on my couch again. But
Right.
if all the games are coming to PC anyway, and I don't know, it's one of them things where that's going to be a lot of money, and where do I want to invest that money?
Right.
It depends. And what's the future for Scorpio and Xbox? I want to see more.
Yeah, no, I get that. I can respect that answer. I know from a PC gaming perspective, it is a bit of a quandary. What is my motivation to buy this box when I could take that and just spend that on a graphics card upgrade of my own to the PC I have?
Yeah, because for £300, I get a PS4 or an Xbox One, and great, I get that library. But for, let's say, £500 conservative, I could get a pretty decent graphics card for that, plus a little bit extra. Sell me old one. There you go.
See, my thing is, I don't want to do that. I know my boys are PC mad, but I'm just in that way of, I like to switch it on. I like to play it.
Right.
So,
well, and I think
there is that.
That is, and maybe that's the way to look at this. They are still servicing a console market. They have opened the doors to the PC market.
Yes.
In that all their games are now coming to PC. So for people like Rich, you can
store?
buy that. Yeah, you can buy it, you get it. But for those that still want a console, they're now at least coming up with options. And I think this is the same for the PS4, that they're trying to create options that get console gamers up into that PC level discussion of high resolutions, high frame rates. And so that's, I think, really where this kind of fills in.
Yes.
Yeah, and remember the store, the Xbox, the Xbox, the Microsoft Store is going to be developed. I know there's been some missteps, and I know the stuff that, and this play buy once, play everywhere, that will get better. It will. There's a focus from Phil and the team now.
Yeah.
They've got the old guy washed out of their system now, and that store you can download on your PC, and all those indie games just automatically download them onto your Xbox. It'll all be the same. So
See, the way I'd probably get into this is if Scorpio was their whatever the version of nowadays is the next generation. If Scorpio was that, then the whole buy now play both is their marketing to me.
Right.
Because I might want Scorpio to be my next console after the PS4. I've got it in my living room, and I can play Gears on that, and then come upstairs and play it on my PC if I want as well.
Yep.
If it's going to be their next gen, whatever that may be.
Yeah. Something tells me, and this is just pure speculation, but I mean, my gut tells me that this is that console that for 3 years maybe, it's going to be Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Scorpio all playing the same games. And in 3 years to 4 years, when they're ready to, quote unquote, launch that next generation, it's going to be games moving forward. The Xbox One and Xbox One S are now going to be phased out. That these games won't necessarily run on them. And it'll be the Scorpio is going to be the base model. So very similar to kind of phones. It's how Apple works it. Eventually they phase out the old iPhones, but it's very, it's kind of subtle. It's a couple iterations, and then suddenly, oh, sorry, this one doesn't really get supported anymore.
See, there is another way they could do it. We haven't seen it because it doesn't exist in the world yet. But one way they could go is the PC development, where they release a game on the Xbox One Scorpio and it looks fantastic, but if you buy it on if you only have an Xbox One, it's low settings.
That's what's going to be happening now. Don't kid yourself. That is what the current scenario is shaping up to be.
Yep.
What I fear, and not fear, it's just at some point, Xbox One's not going to be able to run the games that are going to be coming out.
Yeah.
The hardware just isn't going to be capable unless they are like 480p resolution, which who's going to want to play that?
Yeah.
So that's that diminishing returns. My PC has already phased out of a lot of current games. I can't run them because my hardware is just not compatible enough. It's not that
A hell of a lot faster than a console.
Yeah. So
I have
Yeah,
just
go
to
ahead.
think, because I am constantly asking you guys, what about this laptop or what about this
Right.
computer? So to me, just listening to you guys battle this back and forth, someone who doesn't or cannot, because that's just not that's not in my wheelhouse, to go out and go look at a PC and go buy it and say, okay, that's the greatest thing ever. But when they offer something like Scorpio, and I see that, knowing I can play
Right.
whatever game I want and do whatever I want with that, to me that makes more sense, because I don't have to worry about, I can't go and find a graphics card and upgrade my PC, because I wouldn't know what to do.
Right. No.
We've talked about this before. It's so close to that Steambox model. All they need to do now is throw Microsoft Office on this, and it's there.
I think it's coming.
It's
See,
there.
now, and that's why I'm saying, if I would wait for something like that, I could totally see me buying Scorpio in the long run, because
It does
I
it
am
all.
not PC savvy.
Yeah.
That's perfect for it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay,
there we
that's it.
go. Microsoft
Scores.
done. Score it. Let's start with you, Nicole. What would you grade Microsoft's conference?
I would give them probably an A- because they did that stupid Final Fantasy crap. I'm like, that whole thing, we were sitting there yakking with each other, and we were like, what the flip is this? So they downgraded themselves with that. If they had just left it as, throw me a video, say it's coming, I'd have been fine with that.
Okay. Robin, what about you?
A B.
Okay.
A B. I
A
thought
B?
it was good, solid. I love this. I love the future talk. I love the way they're developing their hardware. But I thought in the middle some of the stuff was a bit floppy, a bit loose. But it's an exciting platform to be part of, and I'm glad to be a fanboy of it. I make no apologies. I love my PS4, but I love my Xbox One more.
And we love you, Robin. Rich, grade me. Microsoft.
I have Microsoft blood, so I'm going to give it an A- for the same reasons, Nicole. If they'd shown the Final Fantasy VII environment trailer, which is 2 minutes of fantastic visuals, instead of that, everyone would have been like, I'm buying that day one. That demo was shit, and it's probably because the game will be mostly shit. Because if that's what the bosses are going to be like every time, the 4 knobheads getting rolling around on the ground, fuck that game. Fuck that game to the wall. I'll play the 7 remake. Thanks.
All right, and I think I would be in the realm of a B plus. I'm with you, Robin. I thought they had some pretty big lull moments where they just didn't carry that momentum. But I think the announcements, a lot of what they brought to the table this E3 was very exciting stuff. And unfortunate that it leaked out prior to, because I think that took some of the luster off of those announcements.
Yeah.
But when you really sit back and look at what they announced and the breadth of what they announced, it was a really good show.
Best thing that they've done is put Phil Spencer and his team to build a team in and around him.
Absolutely.
The last thing that I would say is if Larry Herb ever comes to the UK, he will get a job in Butlins, quite easily in Butlins, with the jackets that he wore during that show.
Can I just say real quickly on his front, I do happen to like Larry Herb. I think he's doing a really good
lad,
job.
yeah.
However,
Terrible
on
drinker.
camera, he looked so incredibly stiff and uncomfortable. When he was talking on camera, it was funny. Like he moved like Mr. Like I can't move my neck from my shoulders. So I don't know if he had a stiff
He's
neck or
lost
something.
a lot of weight. Is it?
I don't know.
Is it just he's skinny looking now? I don't know.
I don't know. It was
Anyway.
just kind of funny. So anyway, moving on. Ubisoft was next. Okay. There was the PC conference, which, for the love of God, just stop. Just stop. It was the interview conference again, where they kind of sat down. I mean, the format you think would be good. It's kind of like a talk show.
We're talking about UB here or PC?
No, PC. And we're just covering this very briefly. It just,
Yeah.
there was nothing that came out of this that was exciting, that was even worthy of having a conference, to be very honest. And I think now that Microsoft is really taking up the mantle of PC as well as Xbox One, I think the PC conference feels even more a bit, I don't know, worthless.
We don't need
Rich?
one. We don't need a PC conference. We don't. We've got Gamescom, we've got PAX, we've got QuakeCon, and then the internet. We just do not. Anyone who's got a gaming PC doesn't watch E3 to find out news and find out the new things and listen to what people want to say. Fuck that. I don't care about the PC conference. I would have preferred to see 2 hours of like a Battlefield fucking 64-player map, Battlefield 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about what E3 has always traditionally been, it's a retailer conference. It's about getting retailers excited about the products coming out. PC gaming has never been a retail experience on a whole. It is a digital experience now. And so I just don't know there really is a place for a PC conference.
What is a PC conference? Well, what is it? Is it about
so AMD
graphics card
sponsors
people
it. Yeah,
or
AMD sponsors it.
processors? Or?
Yeah, AMD sponsored it. They come out. They have some developers coming on. It's a lot of indie developers. Typically, they come out on stage. They talk about their game. They talk about the challenges of developing on PC, and there's just never, really big moments of, here's a PC exclusive game that's announced here.
Todd Howard's never going to announce
Yeah.
Skyrim, like the sequel to Elder Scrolls, on a PC fucking conference.
And this is why Steambox failed. Because
Partially, yeah.
it's not tied together enough. It has to be somebody like Sony or Microsoft to put that together.
You have to have
Just don't
skin in the
need it.
game.
You just don't need it, because anyone who's
No.
interested in PC gaming gets everything the minute it gets announced online. You don't
And
need.
can you imagine putting 10 PC gamers in a room and getting them to agree?
You just couldn't. Do you know what, mate? The only people that matter in PC gaming, right, apart from the publishers and developers, because they do their own stuff online anyway, is the hardware manufacturers, Intel, AMD, and Nvidia, right? They all do their own stuff anyway. They do their own big shows when they announce stuff, and it's just, you don't need it on an E3 stage.
Right. And they're less interested. I mean, Nvidia is probably the exception to that, but I mean, the Intels and even the RAM and I mean, the power brick makers. I mean, everybody, all of them. They don't care about marketing to the public so much. They want to market to the people that make PCs.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they care about. So Nvidia is maybe the exception. Nvidia and AMD, because they do have graphics cards that they do market to the public. But I mean, really, these companies care about, I want to make a connection with Dell.
Card for Scorpio.
Yeah. I want to sell to Microsoft because I want them to include all of these memory chips in their Surface. That's where their interest lies, not in a consumer-driven show.
Yeah.
So, all right, enough of PC.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Sorry for me
Ubisoft.
coughing.
No worries. Ubisoft. I will steamroll through this just because I know we're getting super long on the podcast, and I want to cover Sony.
Okay,
as
go.
much. So, Weird Ass
Dancers.
Dancers came out for Just Dance. Who cares? Aisha Taylor did her thing again this year. I thought she's fun.
She's fit.
I warmed to
Yeah.
her this year. I did.
I know a lot of people give her grief. I have no problem with her doing that conference. I like her. And I think she helped make this conference better than it would have been. Ghost
Can you
Recon
imagine?
Wildlands. That was
looked
one of
good.
the big titles. I thought it looked good. A lot of people not as excited about this game. And I think it's still part of that Ubisoft backlash.
Ah, fuck that.
Yeah. Rich, I mean, did you like what you saw from Ghost Recon Wildlands? Big
thought
open.
I thought it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm on board with it. Nicole, are you down for cocaine missions?
No.
Bitch.
Okay.
I know.
I'm kidding.
I wrote.
No.
Ooh.
So
I
you weren't
just-
excited by this at all?
That was the whole thing. The problem I had with Breaking Bad, I couldn't watch it, all of it,
All right.
because
Okay.
that whole drug culture. I don't know what
okay.
my issue is.
No, hey,
It reminded me of a four player Metal Gear Solid. So you were going in and doing those sorts of missions.
Yeah,
and
four playing
sneak
Metal Gear
in,
Solid
sneak out.
5.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
I got
yeah,
as well, yeah.
yeah.
I saw that. I thought that.
And unfortunate for this game. They did that ridiculous. Let's listen to these players talk as they're
Yeah,
playing.
that was crap. That was
And it
horrible.
was all forced, very acted, scripted conversation. I mean, nobody is saying, "I'm headed to Vector 7. Got you covered.
Roger,
I'm
over.
at Red 8. Over and out. We need
We're
a
going from the
ride.
north.
I've
Wind-
secured the ride."
Wind
It's
blown
all-
from the east. On your 6, Foxtrot.
No, it's I'm at the fucking thing and I don't know where anybody is. Where
Mom,
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
where's my mac and cheese?
See, if
So-
they had, that's the one I was talking about. I was like, is this the scripted one? But that was the scripted one. And it was such cheese. It was awful. It was the worst ever. Had it been more like what you guys were just saying right now, it would have been hilarious and way more real. And I probably would have been like, that looks interesting. But no.
So Ghost Recon Wild, despite the horrible voice acting, scripted moments of their demo, it looks
like fun.
pretty good unless you have an aversion to drug cartel stuff.
That's me. Sorry.
Let's
South
talk about your butthole.
Yeah, South Park Fractured Butthole. I mean, look, if you like South Park, you love this game. And
Yeah.
I missed out on the first South Park. I did not play it. However, every moment I've ever seen from that game has made me laugh. And I do enjoy South Park. So I'm pretty interested in this.
But you get the first one if you
Right.
buy the second one.
Right.
So you won't be missing out for much longer.
And it's really cheap to buy at the moment anyway. I bought it. I only played a couple of hours of it. I don't know why I never played it all, but I'm going to now. I really am, because that just looks like fun. It is fun. I love South Park. It's doing it. Yeah.
And the theme around this one, like the first theme was kind of, I want to say the first South Park game was kind of almost like elves and wizards, like Elder Scrolls kind of, that was the undertone. This one, the undertone is the comic book superheroes, Civil War kind of fighting against one another. Rich, are you excited by this game? Do you like South Park?
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was too young to watch it, I really
feel like
liked it.
that's a jab right at me.
No, when I was a kid, I used to watch it, but I just haven't watched it since leaving home. But it's
Since I grew up, asshole.
yeah, since I grew up. But I mean,
I
it's
told you he's 12.
but it is really funny, and the first game was really good. So I hear, and this one just looked great. The South Park's always funny. It just never isn't funny.
All right, so far we had it was kind of a mixed bag. It started off shaky with the Just Dance stuff and weirdness. Ghost Recon Wilds came in looking pretty good for us, I think, on a whole. South Park really knocking it out of the park, and the Division Underground then was announced, which we had seen already. So nothing new here. More Division. If you like the Division, you were excited by it.
I just like watching Aisha.
And Aisha,
Mesmerized.
more Aisha,
Yeah.
and then we got Eagle Flight VR.
Wow.
Oh, fucking hell.
This was the start of a couple of very bad moments in the Ubisoft conference.
Jesus.
Ubisoft, if we go by their
Eagle
intro.
Shite VR. That's what I'm calling this
Yeah.
game. Eagle Shite
Demoed
VR.
by the inventor of the bloody Oculus Rift. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
Lucky was on there. It looked kind of like a little capture the flag kind of thing. It just
It looked like a bloody Wii game.
Yeah, it just didn't impress. And then we go from that into Star Trek VR, which also looked like shit. And
Fucking
they
hell.
had
George, your man Geordie LaForge out there,
Geordie
who
LaForge.
invented VR before anyone else.
Jerry
was on
Ryan,
there.
though. Jerry Ryan was on.
Oh, she was cute.
Yeah.
7 of 9. Yeah, I'll give
7
her
of
9.
9. Fuck
My
it.
9.
I did many a
Oh
time.
my
Look, the
God.
calluses on my hand, and they never left me from I was 14.
All right.
Only-
So was anybody excited by this? I mean,
No, apparently these two were excited by 7 of 9.
yeah.
7 of
I
my
think my
9.
favorite part of it was when, and I forgot the actor's real name, but when Geordie LaForge, because that's what I have to call him now, when he was
LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton, thank you. When LeVar Burton was talking about, well, when we were on set, that was all cardboard and it wasn't real, and now in VR, guess what, LeVar? It's still not real.
What the fuck do you know about games?
Oh, and number 1, the guy who I don't know his name.
Rick,
No, not Patrick.
Commander Riker.
Commander
Okay.
Riker.
Dude's British.
Yes.
I had a heart attack.
Almost all the
Okay,
American
okay.
actors we like.
But
are
apart from that, I would love a really good Star Trek game. That's missing in the world. It really is.
Well, there is
But this
one,
here,
Star Trek
but
Online.
this here,
That's not it.
this here. But who the fuck has 4 VR headsets to sit around in the room to
Yeah.
play?
That was like almost what $10,000 worth of VR
Oh,
equipment on
People
stage.
who were on their money, people with they were on Star Trek for 10 years. They've got the money for these VR headsets, all 4 of them.
Right. And they likely are the only ones going to be playing this game. They're going to be like,
I'm
see, it's
sorry.
real.
Like total shit. I mean,
Love Star Trek.
Like original Sims. That's how bad the animation was.
It was
The
not
friggin'
good.
more I see of VR, the more I want to run away.
So then we got For Honor, which this I'm personally excited for. I think it looks pretty fantastic, but there's a lot of people.
Chop.
Yeah, they're
Chop,
not
chop.
all excited for it.
It reminded me last year it looked like hack slash. This year it looked like a bit more hack slash and lots more chop.
But that's swordplay.
But it was like it reminded me of Rise, Son of Rome.
Fair enough.
And it feels like that. So, but
So,
you
for
can
those
be a
that don't know,
samurai or
you
whatever.
can be a samurai, you can be a knight, or you can be a Viking. Interesting mix.
Yeah.
Chop.
Rich, are you no?
No.
Yes, no.
No interest. No interest,
All right.
really.
I'm apparently the only one that was somewhat excited by this. Then a game came out, Trials of the Blood Dragon, and I was fairly on board for this. And then I was basically told that I was going to be on board for this. So
That night,
we picked this up. I know, Robin, you picked this up. It's Trials, but it's the Blood Dragon.
Yeah, but it's only when you play it. I played to completion now. It's probably 5-6 hours long. There's maybe 30% of it is trials on bicycles and motorbikes. There's lots of Mission Impossible style Metrovania running around as well, and lots of other remote control car stuff. It's friggin' as if they designed it and they were high on crack or pot. There was a pot party. Let's do the weirdest stuff ever, and it's friggin' awesome.
I'm not sold,
awesome.
or not. I'm not going to rule that out.
Awesome.
Because, let's think about it. The start of the show shows us that these people are not in their right mind.
Oh, teddy bear suits.
Yeah. So, Rich or Nicole, are either of you potentially picking up Trials of the Blood Dragon? Are you interested?
Well, now that he said it's only 30% of the bike, I'm like, I might actually get that.
And you know what? Where trials could be unbelievably hard and frustrating, none of that was. None of it was. Yes, you could go back. There's achievements or trophies for doing things A-star, really class. I didn't. I just fail, and away I went. But there was none of the frustrating stuff that you got with trials. I can't get over this. I've tried it 1,000 times.
But it still has the Trials Quick Start, which is nice.
Yeah. So it still has that. But there was it was so funny and so cheesy and so tacky and
that sounds like fun.
Brilliant fun.
Funny, cheesy, and tacky. Let's play.
Rich, were you a Trials person?
Yeah, it was all right. Not too bad.
All right. Well, the good news is it is only $12. It was $12 US, which I think is going to be about. I'm not going to do my normal math. I'm going to say 15 pounds. Yeah, close, maybe.
No, it'll be about 10.
It was something like that. Yeah. Well, I think it was. Oh God, was it $14.99? Yeah, 15 quid.
15. There you go.
It worked that time.
All right. So then we moved on from Trials of Blood Dragon. They brought out Assassin's Creed the movie because for some reason this was filler. We don't have more video game stuff, so we're gonna put our movie out there because we want to pimp our movie.
Yep.
Yeah, but that movie does look good.
It looks good, but I don't want to see it on my video game screen. My video game conferences need to be about games or
Sex.
Yeah. I take it back. It's fine. They had it in there. I guess I'm not overly
That's
thrilled.
their cash cow, though.
I know. I can't blame them. I think back to the Halo War movie, the Halo Spartan movie. That stuff, I was excited for that. So I think if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, or if you're a fan of the main actor, I forgot his name. I'm sure you know Nicole.
I'm just gonna let you flounder. Keep talking.
So, yes.
Bud's back.
So there you go. then they finish it out
Sorry.
with
Funny thing just happened in the
Alright.
chat.
what happened in the chat. Well, and we'll give people a shout out in a second here. So
Oh no, we're good.
No,
Alright.
Martin wants to know: do we have a movie coming out?
yes, we have a movie coming out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We're going round to Nicole's house to fix her washing machine.
No, we're not. My
Exactly,
washing machine
we're
is
not
brand
fixing your
new.
washing
It's
machine.
fine. Y'all stay away from my washing machine.
We're here to fix your washing machine.
No, and I
Uh-huh.
even put in there that it was going to be porn.
Oh, all right. So they wrap up Ubisoft with Watch Dogs 2. Because there's a comment here, steep, but I don't know what the hell that is.
Bud,
So
Bud's back. Bud.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, you-
showing him now. Better than this Watchdog shit.
yeah. So Watch Dogs 2, I
Bud,
don't care. Stop it, Robin. Stop it.
But Bud's back.
I
but,
don't.
but Rich cares.
No,
He loved
moving
Bud.
on
He done
up.
a whole video series, a whole play on Bud, and now he's flying Bud.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Bud?
Bud flies now.
Yeah,
I hate you.
he's worth talking about. The cute robot.
I
Grow
don't know
up.
what you're talking about.
Grow up.
A
The sign to
video
grow home.
game.
Grow
Oh,
home.
but again, things I don't care about. Grow Home, I never cared about. So, yeah, sorry.
I did a whole
Yeah.
let's play of the
I
whole
know,
thing.
I know you did, Rich. I know you did. I know you loved that game.
So good.
So okay, so yes, there was that. Grow Home 2 was announced.
Grow up.
Watch Dogs 2 was also announced. I don't care about Watch Dogs 2. I just
Nope.
I don't.
Nope.
They burned me on the first one. I think they're going to be in for a very rude shock with Watch Dogs 2. I think it is going to fail very
Yep.
badly.
Erp.
All right. Grade Ubisoft.
Steep.
Steep. What is steep, by the way?
Okay, steep is action sports, snowboarding, jumping off
Oh,
mountains,
that's
wingsuits,
right.
Yes.
all that sort of shit.
GoPro game.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're good.
It's a GoPro game. Yep.
Yeah,
We're
it'd be
good.
lots of fun for an hour. So let's carry on.
Yeah, I think if you were a fan of SX, you're going to be excited for
SX.
this.
No,
Not
not
sex.
SEX, just
Not
SX.
SX.
It's the
SSX.
washing machine thing again, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Mm.
So yeah, sorry, I forgot about that game. Yes, they did announce that. That was what they ended the conference on. I will start. I'm going to give them. I'm going to give them a D. I'm going to give them a D. It was too long. There was just, I mean, some horrible games put on stage, and I didn't find a lot of the content that they covered throughout the course of the thing compelling. And in fact, it'd probably be a lower score had it not been for Aisha Tyler. She really saved the whole conference for me. So yeah, D. Stop sniffing your marker.
I'll give it a D as well, and it is saved by Alicia Tyler. The whole show was an hour longer than it should have been. It was saved for me by Trials of the Blood Dragon. I love Ghost Recon, and that's it. Oh, South Park Buttholes.
Yeah.
But again, even that was again they could have cut an hour, edited an hour of that out, and it would have been a bit more interesting.
Agreed. Agreed.
D.
Rich?
Yeah, the sames. D's.
D's across the board so far. Nicole?
I go back and forth between an F plus and a D minus.
Oh.
I like Aisha Taylor. I think she's fabulous. But they cut her off a lot and re-cued her different ways, and I didn't like the way they did that. The only saving grace was Michael Fassbender, as far as I'm concerned. And that would be his name, Greg.
I was just going to say, I know that guy. He's in the Assassin's Creed movie.
Yeah. So that's their only saving grace, because I sat there and watched that whole thing going, holy crap, what are these weird people doing on stage?
Right.
And why are we sitting down having a conversation? Like Robin said, it was an hour too long.
Yep. All right. So what is your final grade for them, Nicole?
I'll be nice. I'll give them a D minus.
D minus it is. Sony, we're on to Sony. Ubisoft, yeah, that was pretty poor. All right, so Sony, some amazing thing happened. A couple amazing things happened actually with the Sony conference. One, they started on time. That has honestly, over the last 4 years, they've not started on time one E3.
No, that's true.
And usually they are like a good 10, 15 minutes late. This time started on time, and this was over in just over an hour. That is shocking because one of the other things Sony has never done is had a short press conference. Their press conferences are almost always 1.5 to 2 hours long, even longer than 2 hours. I think 2 years back, I think they went past 2 hours. So I was absolutely flabbergasted by these two pieces. And my conspiracy theory behind this is that because Sony is also doing in the US the go to E3 experience at movie theaters, where they're renting out movie theaters and basically people can go and basically, buy a ticket to get in to it. And I think it's free to get in. I could be wrong. But my conspiracy theory is they realize it costs them a shitload of money to rent out those theaters, and they're not, and they're not charging people to go in, as far as I know. So that mandated we will be an hour long. This way, we're not going to get charged even more money by the movie theaters for renting out the movie theaters,
and we will start on time.
It will start on time, and we'll get out. That's where this show came from.
Nah, it didn't start on time at all. They were meant to start halfway through that first orchestra piece. But they couldn't get themselves together at the back. Hurry up, you're supposed to be on now. You're supposed to be on now. Just let them play for a bit longer. Let them play. Let them enjoy the music.
It was a couple minutes late, but I mean, it started relatively on time. That was a shocker in and of itself. So orchestra starts playing. Boom, new God of War game comes out. It is Kratos.
You got this right.
It is Norse
You got that right.
mythology-ish, although they're saying it's a little bit full-on Viking. So either way, what is interesting is it's no longer the pulled back camera that they use with most of the God of War games. It's now kind of over the shoulder, and Kratos is teaching his son how to hunt. So this game looks fantastic. My only issue, I get how Kratos could have a kid because he fucked everything. So, I mean, the dude had sex all over the place. So, I mean, he probably has a few children out there. But Kratos killed himself at the end of the last game. He killed himself.
But there'll be some vehicle for it to happen.
I
know.
So,
It's
anyway,
it's not even that really. The Vikings was about, I don't know, 1,000 years after Greek mythology.
Right.
Yeah, but he was a god, and he the story goes that he roamed the earth and ended up in Norway, and there's a whole explanation with it. Again, with the bomb cast guys were there, and they were giving a big in depth to the backstory and how it all happened, and
that also is how most of the people wound up in Norway.
Yeah. Wandering around.
And they're like, go, look where we are.
Walk about.
It's cold here. Bloody cold.
It's cold. We should group up. Everybody have sex. Stay warm. And that's how they populated.
Yeah.
And that's how they got a child.
Yeah. So God of War, it looks fantastic. A lot of people are talking about this new mechanic of him with his son. I feel like Last of Us has once again really influenced another title for Sony.
There's a few of these. Sun control. I wish I had sun control like that.
Yeah.
Press where I want my son to go. Press a button, and it goes. It works. I would love that. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Did your mother never tell you how to get a beer?
Did your mother never tell you how to get a beer?
Wish they were here now.
Yeah, no shit. I'm right there with you, Robin.
Yeah.
I mean, are we excited for God of War?
I never played a God of War game. I haven't. No.
I played God of War 3. It was a fantastic game. It was a very, very good game.
There's a Vita God of War, isn't there?
There
One
is.
for the PS Vita, and I'm gonna take it with me on the holidays this time for the plane and land about the beach. So I'm gonna try that.
Nicole, God of War?
I never played a God of War, but this actually looks like a very pretty Skyrim to me, so I would play it.
Yeah.
I know this. They're probably all gonna kill me now, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I will say this: traditional God of War games are not open world. They are typically a progression.
And I
I'm
heard
good with progression.
this was described more like Tomb Raider.
Right.
So it had big open areas
Right.
and then channeled through. So,
Right, which I think is actually a really good move
Yeah.
for God of War. So I think this could really be a really good spin. I just am not a fan of Kratos. Dude is angry at everything, and maybe they're going to try and tame him down, but it's Kratos. How can you do that? I mean, the whole point of him was he got pissed off and he killed everything.
His son will calm him down.
I think Kratos is the Kratos. I think is the ancestor of Doom guy. I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, he's a father now, and that's
all right,
different.
but-
Changes a man.
So God of War looked great.
Yeah, that looked good.
And then a funny side note to me, I mean, it certainly not a funny situation, but Sony then took it upon themselves to, after they just aired the God of War trailer, to basically kind of have their moment of acknowledging the victims of Orlando.
I know.
I would
Yeah, why
think
not at the
maybe-
beginning?
Yeah, don't do that right after God of War, especially.
Yeah.
That aside, I mean, everybody I think acknowledged it, which was nice. I think all the conferences had a moment.
Yeah, okay.
Then we saw Days Gone. This is Sony Bend, I believe, is the studio behind it. This is their zombie game. Looks very 28 Days in terms of how the zombies, or War Z, if you ever saw the movie War Z, the zombies basically pile out like ants. And they come at you in like waves and waves of zombies. And in fact, I think they're calling them something different, though. It's not zombies. It's not infected.
Walkers.
No. It's some other name. But anyway, that all aside,
Whatever.
looks very nice. I thought visually it looked pretty good. They claim it's going to be another kind of open world game. You're playing as a bounty hunter, basically a biker gang bounty hunter.
Oh yeah, baby.
So a little bit of that. Oh God, what was the FX series?
His wife died.
Freakers.
Sons of Anarchy. Yes, and they're called Freakers.
Freakers.
So that is going to make for interesting internet memes. So yes, you're killing Freakers. You're a Sons of Anarchy biker, but you're a bounty hunter.
Your wife died.
Yeah. Again, game looks really good. There were some moments for me where I was just kind of like, especially when I saw like the train car door open up and more Freakers piled out of that train car than physically possible to be fit in there. So that was one of those kind of moments.
Yeah, it looked like it vomited.
The
Freakers.
air filter silencer was another groovy move.
Oh yeah,
moment.
we were discussing the air filter.
Yeah, he reaches into the engine, so there's going to be crafting and there's going to be scavenging, but it was comical to see him reach into an engine. And Rich, tell me if you've ever done this before. He reached into the air filter, the oil filter, pulled off the oil filter, then just screwed it right onto his 9mm pistol, and then started using that as a silencer.
I did that this morning.
See, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Totally real. Totally real.
It's in the Haze manual, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the Vote Leave campaign on the back.
Aren't we so spoiled? Aren't we really? Because to me, this game and God of War look fantastic. But at the same time, I could have taken out that biker and dropped in Nathan Drake. Or I could have dropped in the characters from The Last of Us. And it wouldn't have been crazy. It would have still looked... but it's because it's based in a sort of a real world graphics.
Right.
So they could all be interchangeable games almost. So it's as if they're all sharing assets or sharing that technology and dropping a different story on. But I suppose if you wanted to make it real world looking, and this is what it's going to look like. But so we're so spoiled with these fabulous looking games now.
No, agreed. And I'll just show it in. If he had used duct tape, I would have bought in more to the oil filter and gun. But, duct tape is the universal bonding agent for everything. All right. So next up was Last Guardian.
Boom.
Fuck off. Just get this off. This looks old. It looks dated. It looks, its time has passed. My wing is broken. Get it away. This is done. Stop cheering for this game.
It would have been good 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's gone. Forget it.
Nicole,
the cheer wasn't as big this year.
Did you like the Dragon Dogs? No. Okay, so I'm not going to completely rip on the game. I'm not. This is not a game that excites me. It could potentially be an interesting game. Maybe they have got it going to a point of being something that's going to be super special. I know there's a lot of hope around this game.
It could be a seminal masterpiece.
I will tell you this. My prediction for this game after seeing that is there is an evil dog and there is a good dog. And your dog, the one with the broken wing, you're going to try and help and keep it alive and it's going to die.
And the good dog is Nicole's dog, and the bad dog
Right.
is a big.
No, here's my opinion on this. It would be much better as an anime short and be done.
Yeah,
Oh, that's an interesting spin.
that's good, Nicole.
We'll revisit that in just a second, or a couple moments. So the next game that came on, and I should note, the Sony conference was really well paced. I mean, it was game. They spent very little time on stage, which was a huge plus.
Good, because we didn't have to see that twat in a suit.
Yeah,
Wow.
the guy that's taken over for Jack Trenton, I forgot
Not
his
good.
name.
Sean
Not
Layden.
good.
John Layden. He just looks like an asshole, and that's not fair. That's judging a book by its cover, but he talks like an asshole.
He just didn't have a good stage presence. He's not an asshole. He just didn't have a
He's
good
just not
stage
Phil.
presence.
He's just not Phil Spencer, is he?
No, nor is he
No.
Jack Trenton. I really like Jack Trenton with Sony. I really liked him, and I feel that's one piece Sony is still missing. They don't have their Jack Trenton because they have this guy, and then they've got Andrew House, and I don't care for either one of them. All right, but beyond that, Horizon Zero Dawn comes on, and this game is getting tons of buzz. Everybody is excited for it. Even me, even though I give it a hard time about, I think the story is going to be absolute garbage. I think this game looks like it is fantastically fun to play.
It does. And it looks beautiful, and the world looks expansive, and it just looks really interesting. Prehistoric, like, world, it's that Far Cry game that was just broken. Prehistoric one. No one played after a week.
That's where my
that.
criticism
Game
comes in.
arc prehistoric game in the future. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a nice premise.
An interesting.
Yeah.
So that's where like my issues, and I got some flack from our group as we were talking, because I mean I look at this story and I struggle with the notion of we've got a modern society that somehow crumbles and these machines rise up from it, and yet we're still using technology, and I say we as in the people of these villages, but they're talking like they're frickin' Neanderthals.
Yeah,
They're
right.
running around in fur-covered boots, but they're using technology. I mean, she has like computers that she's using for tracking. It just doesn't jive. If you've got this technology, you're not
there's no-
living like a caveman. I don't get.
There's no USB ports about to charge these friggin' things, Greg, is there? I mean, jeez.
Well, apparently
where
there
they?
are. Apparently there are. So I mean, if you have this kind of technology, that's what I'm getting at. Is you have this level of technology. There's no way in hell, based on where you've come from, because we see all of these dilapidated cities. We know that there was a thriving civilization at one point. I just don't see how they're not back to a more modern level.
Because have you seen the size of those little techno monsters?
Well, but that's the other part of it. Apparently, recently, up until recently, those techno monsters hadn't been aggressive, and something recently had changed, and now suddenly they are being aggressive. So again, it just kind of goes back to this. I don't know. The backstory for me just feels weird. I'm not going to dwell on it.
But see, we don't know the backstory yet.
I know.
And I'm looking forward to this game, 100%.
So am I. But I watched Mad Max this week, so anything's possible.
All right. And speaking of anime shorts, next up was Detroit Become Human, which is Quantic Dream's game. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of the Quantic Dream games, but I will definitely give this a try when I grab my PS4, because to me, I liked a lot of at least what they showed, the different possible endings, the way they displayed it this game versus how they've done previous games. To me, this grabbed my attention. It looked interesting. It has a very unique.
I love the choices, the way you can manipulate the outcomes
Right.
off the decisions you make. It looked good that way. So,
Right.
yeah.
Robin's gonna fall asleep if we don't hurry through
I know.
this.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
sorry
hurry.
about this.
Apologize.
Sorry. It is 25 to 2 in the morning here.
I
So
know. Rich, stay
yeah.
with us as well. I can't see you, which worries me. Rich may be
Yeah.
fast asleep as we're talking.
But no. We have to give Sony its due time.
I know.
I mean,
I want to
I would hate.
time.
I would hate Tuscan to be annoyed with me for not giving Sony its time. So
No,
carry on.
we will give them their due time. They deserve their due time because this was, again, a fast-paced show, well laid out, had a good pace. Next up, they started their VR section. So
God.
They talked about it. They said, hey, these next games are going to be VR. So we had Resident Evil 7 Biohazard came on. This game looked very PT. The PT demo. It was first person. It was very horror based. It was scary. It wasn't your typical Resident Evil game. So
It has nothing to do with Resident Evil whatsoever.
Well,
really,
yes or no. I mean, it's a new take on Resident Evil. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. And to be honest, Robin, I think Resident Evil needs this.
Yeah, maybe. It looked grainy. It looked horrible, I thought, but that suits VR because VR is grainy and horrible at the moment.
Well,
so
but it also had that kind of the film grain of horror movies that we see in today's. A lot of modern horror movies today are going back to that film grain look.
Do you know what? It didn't look that much better than Condemned. Sorry.
And I like Condemned though. So
so did I. Yeah, but that's 10 years ago.
I'm okay with that.
It did kind of look a bit like a good game.
I'm not prepared to go back 10 years for VR at $300, $400. So sorry,
all right.
No.
I will say, Nicole, anything?
I'm like, move on.
All right. Now, the one thing that I will say also, this game is not just PSVR. It is playable as a standalone regular game as well. So it will be coming out to both Xbox One, PS4, and I think PC. But it's basically a first-person game. So moving on from there, we got PSVR officially October 13th, 2016. It's going to be $399. It is going to have 50 games coming out from launch to end of 2016.
Greg? 50 AAA games? 50 games? How many good games will be in that 50?
50 games and experiences, Robin. That is my take on that 50
games and experiences. That's how they get away with it.
God,
yeah. So then they started showing off a number of VR titles. So far,
just to clarify, I am not knocking Sony VR. I'm just knocking VR in general here at this moment in time. So just to calm my fanboy, just so not to be misconstrued.
We do not want to misconstrue. We do not like all VR. Anyway, all right. No, so Farpoint came up. That was the first title they showed off. This was like a first-person shooter, space shooter. I mean, we didn't see a ton of it. It looked really nice. I thought it looked good. Hard to know.
Yeah, it looked better.
Yeah, it looked like the first legitimate game that I had seen so far in their conference, I should say. That was a VR exclusive game. Then we had Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing VR mission. This to me is one of those kind of slap in the face moments. We're going to give you a mission in VR.
Well, if anything I'd like to do in VR, that would be it.
True.
That would be the experience that I would like to have in Star Wars. That would be that.
Yeah, and you make a good point, Robin. I think VR is the perfect delivery system for any game that involves a cockpit or sitting in a racing seat or in a plane cockpit. That's VR. That's bread and butter. Then we got Batman Arkham VR, which I have since heard a lot of people talking about to varying degrees. Some people like Jeff Kanata, talking about just professionals out there. Jeff Kanata oozed all over this thing and said it was so cool. You're Batman and you're sticking your hands into the machine and it's putting your gloves on and you're putting your cape on, you're putting your hat on, you're turning your head and you're Batman. And then I listened to Jeff Gerstmann talk about that very same thing. And he's like, you've got two floating hands. You're sticking it in there. It's putting gloves on it. They're disconnected from your body. You've got a floating bat belt.
There's no fighting.
There's no fighting. You're putting on a cape. He's like, I guess it's not. It's an experience. It's not a game. So he was not on board at all for Batman VR. It's going to be an experience. Let's just put it that way. Final Final Fantasy 15 also will be having VR support.
Well, that'll make it better.
What a waste of fucking life.
And then we get to what I thought was the most interesting moment of, honestly, the entire E3. Because
Really?
Yes, because then we got this game, and mind you, Sony did not at any point signify that they had stopped showing VR games. So we suddenly see this game where you're seeing this it's a space station. You're seeing this guy walking through. He's getting ready to get into his space fighter. He's launched out, and it all looks fantastic. And he launches out into space, and it's this giant space battle, and he's in his ship, and they're going around, and we're trying to figure out what game this is. Is it Valkyrie? Maybe they brought back Colony, and then suddenly he docks with the ship that they're trying to invade, and he pulls his gun up. And as soon as he pulled his gun up, I'm like, this is fucking Call of Duty. Holy shit.
Okay, sorry to be a party pooper, but as soon as they got into the ship, they switched gravity on and they went back blunk. A few years ago, there was a COD game where they went to space, up to a space station, and that was one mission. There might be one or two set pieces like this, but don't get your hopes up that's all on space and spaceships. Don't. I'm
not getting my hopes up
vertical
it's all
slice.
in space or spaceships.
Okay,
But
so
my
we'd all
point
written it off. We'd all written off COD.
Right. That
year.
is completely
Yeah.
my point. My point was, and why this I thought was the most interesting point was, had I seen Call of Duty at the beginning of this trailer, I probably would have been like, fuck, more Call of Duty. But because I didn't see that, and I got through this trailer and I was intrigued, I was like, holy shit, this game looks fantastic. What game is this? I didn't know what game it was. I legitimately was having a conversation with all three of us on the call at the time. And it was Nicole and myself and Mark. And we were all like, this looks amazing. And then we found out it was Call of Duty. And it was one of those moments where I think across the internet, everybody that shit all over that trailer when it first was announced, they basically got served their lunch, because I'm sure they all were having the same reaction. They were thinking it was some kind of Sony PSVR game. They were excited for it. And then they got basically their lunch handed to them. It was VR. It was Call of Duty. So I'm not saying I'm fully on board.
skeptical. Skeptical. That's not negative. I'm just skeptical that there's not enough of that. It's going to be back to vanilla COD very quickly after those little sections.
So Nicole, did this make you want COD?
I'm gonna take the wait and see approach. Because while we were talking, you were like, "It's Call of Duty." I'm like, "It can't be. This looks cool." So I do remember our little conversation, but there was some fascinating aspects in there that were not very typical Call of Duty-esque. But I don't know.
Rich, what about you? I'm curious to take the pulse of the team here.
I was like you. I didn't know what this game was leading in. I started thinking it might be COD because of the crosshair and the way the bullet detection was coming in. But when he started pulling people's masks off and that, I was like, nah, this isn't COD. This is a bit brutal, this. And it looks like I'm with you. I think it looks like it could be fantastic, but I'm also with Robin. It looks like it could just be a great level.
It's very true. Very true.
But it looks a lot like what I didn't think this COD was going to look like. I didn't think this was going to be Call of Duty.
Yeah. So here is my other comment or other thought around this, and we'll move on from this. But could this moment in Sony's conference save Call of Duty from being a total disaster? Because I think after that initial trailer, it was on its way into the toilet. But after this announcement, I think, I'm with you, Robin. I think this does save COD for another year.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, Sony comes out on stage and basically announces that because they have been working with Activision, they've been also able to kind of agree to allow Sony to bring back Crash Bandicoot.
Ding, 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 ding.
And so they are going to be remastering the first 3 games from Crash Bandicoot. And so they're going to be bringing that out. And I don't know when that's coming out, if it's this year or next year. I think it's next year. But they also said that Crash Bandicoot will be playable in Skylanders.
I've already played it in Uncharted, so I'm all right.
Okay. Fair enough. Then they had a very nice Lego Star Wars, The Force Awakens trailer.
That looks so good. Oh my god,
That
that
looks
looks good.
Yeah, it
cute.
really does.
Did look good.
Really.
Lego games, there's something about those games. They just
Because
nail-
they're just stinking adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't disagree. Cannot disagree. Then probably the most bizarre moment of the entire
I'm
Sony
back.
conference. Yeah, so the only other non-Sony person to come on stage is Hideo Kojima. He comes walking down and basically says, "I'm back," and he launches his trailer called Death Stranding. I mean, this was just a bizarre, off-the-wall trailer. It's got dead crabs, dead whales.
An
There's
alien-looking baby.
an alien-looking baby that has an umbilical cord that is basically looks like it's attached to Norman Reedus, who is naked.
Hell
And-
yeah, he was.
and there's all of these little black handprints that are touching in and around him and on him, and they're fading away, but they're touching back. And then he stands up, and it looks like he's had a C-section, and that's where the baby came from.
Oh,
And-
frig off.
And he has
that?
handcuffs that are broken off, and I mean all of this spectacle, and then he turns and we see the name Death Stranding come into play, and there's 5 figures up above that are floating. I don't know if they're figures or what they are, but there's 5 little things floating up in the air. That was the trailer. My take, I don't think this is about anything. I
No,
think
it could
this
turn
trailer
into Tetris.
this trailer was a tech trailer for him to say, hey, I can still make some fantastic looking stuff, but more than anything, I think this trailer was his. I mean, Hideo Kojima is very theatrical. He loves his stories. He loves doing zany things, and I think this trailer was his way of saying to the world, "I'm back." I think it was a representation of him. So basically, Norman Reedus represents him. The
No,
baby.
Do
the
you think
baby-
it was he got an ass double? Norman Reedus got an ass double for this?
I don't
No.
want to even think about that. But I think that the baby represented Metal Gear Solid being ripped from him. I think the hands, the black
Oh
hands, all
God!
represented.
Jesus, Greg.
This is Hideo Kojima. And if you really think about his nutty personality, I think that 100% his shackles have been broken. He's free now. Even though his baby has been ripped from him, he's free, and he now can pursue what he wants to pursue. That's
It's a
100%
game,
what
though.
this. No.
It's-
The title is the only thing that is part of this game. Everything else we saw will not be in that game. I guarantee it.
Yeah. This game will be Norman Reedus' ass shooting things that turn into big wheels and stuff like that there, and sucker blowfish instead of wheels. Yeah.
What if it's like the
You'll be
original Max
Norman Reedus
Payne?
just bending over.
Wait, the original Max Payne?
Yeah, what if it's like the original Max Payne where there's just weird shit? Like Silent Hill's just weird shit. Maybe it's just a weird shit game. Maybe there's just weird stuff going on.
It's Hideo Kojima. I expect it to be a weird shit game. I think that 100%.
As long as we're agreeing that it's going to be a weird shit game.
Yes. All right. So then Spider-Man was revealed. So Sony was able to get the licensing for a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, look brilliant too.
Insomniac
Really
is behind it, which is great.
Look
kinda-
good. Look good.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and you
looks
kind
really
of think they've got good chops with the movement after Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
You know, if you could change your
Sorry.
character to Spider-Man
okay.
sort of guy, you know.
Nicole, are you up for some Spider-Man?
Nope.
All right. Nope.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't play Batman. I
Okay.
didn't play Spider-Man.
All right. Okay. All right. I think I don't know what to say other than
I'll watch all the movies, but I don't.
all right.
Eh.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that looks like it looks like the best Spider-Man game in a long time. So
It does.
I
Could
just
very-
don't like the big white spider. That looks stupid to me. Like
Well,
tone that down.
Yeah, that
Spider Pig,
Spider Pig.
Spider Pig.
All right, so that really was the Sony conference because then they did they did a live gameplay demo of Days Gone.
Now, did you hear the rumor?
I've heard many rumors.
Okay, so there was
but-
a whole big rumor about Red Dead.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so
I've
there's a
heard the
big
rumor on
rumor
this.
that this very weird live gameplay demo that was tacked on to the end of the show was literally tacked on, last minute thing. There's a rumor going around, and I've seen YouTube stuff, people talking about it, that there was supposed to be a Red Dead announcement at the show,
Right.
and it showed a scene of a woman walking into a bar shooting a pile of people. And it was allegedly, this rumor goes that it was pulled
Pulled.
because it was distasteful because of the things that had happened in Orlando. I don't know. There could be completely. It kind of, if that was true, that would kind of make sense if it was
Right.
insensitive, and it also makes sense that that really weird demo, Today's Gone thing at the end, left the whole show feeling a bit flat, in my opinion.
It could very well be. It could
So-
very well be. It could. I mean, there's two things I think that could have been potentially filling that last spot. So one, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mhm.
Obviously, if the rumor is as it was that they were set to announce it, I mean that totally makes sense. And if you really, I mean, if that was the trailer, what they were going to show, yes, my God, that would be really in bad taste. I get why they would pull that. The other theory is that they actually were originally going to be talking about PS Neo and the PlayStation 4 Neo, and they decided not to talk about that at the end because of the fact that they had gotten wind about the PS Scorpio coming out, and Microsoft was going to be announcing that. And obviously, if we start talking spec to spec, that potentially wasn't looking favorable, and they decided not to have that conversation. Who knows? Who knows?
knows?
The end of the show did feel a little weird,
Yeah.
but again,
Well,
it also goes
if
back to my
if Red-
theory.
If Red Dead appears at Gamescom, we know that that sort of confirms that probably.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. We will definitely see. And I will say this, I still hold the thought that they also wanted to keep this to an hour so that from the theater standpoint, I do think that they were very conscious of the fact that this was going to cost them much more money if they went past that. Because it was a very tight, I mean, that show was scripted to, even if they had one more trailer, it was going to be right at that hour mark. So that was Sony. So let's grade Sony. Rich, start off with Sony.
I'll give Sony a B for that. I think they did pretty well. What I liked, although a lot of the VR stuff was nonsense, they are putting a lot of money into VR, and a lot of big games are coming to VR, and that's what VR needs if it's gonna take off. And I'm glad to see a big publisher like Sony getting behind that.
All right, Nicole.
B plus.
Okay. B plus.
They screwed it up with stupid Spider-Man.
They screwed it up
I'm
with
just kidding.
Spider-Man.
No, actually, it was really well done, honestly, and probably would have been up there with Xbox. But I don't know. I don't like that little twat that is their spokesperson, and I thought the orchestra stuff was a little overmuch.
It was a bit pompous, that wasn't it? A little bit pompous.
Yes, pompous.
Robin.
Yeah, I would give it a God. I don't want to sound like a fanboy. I'm sorry, but it's a B minus for me. And the main reason is, yes, although the first party stuff, God of War, Days Gone, and Horizon Zero Dawn are very, very special. Even Detroit looks pretty good. There was a lot of cross-platform stuff there. The VR stuff left me feeling flat. I'd love to see our VR succeeding. I think it is here to stay as an education tool, as visiting tool, but I don't think it's a gaming thing really. And I thought the Norman Reedus stuff was ridiculous. And again the orchestra and stuff like that there was nice, but what? Because they kept on at it and at it and at it. It was both very, very good, very, very slick. Both them, good. So B minus is really good compared to, because if you think about the other scores that I give the other things, that's pretty good. So
no, absolutely.
Good,
for me, I'm actually I would give them an A minus. And from a pacing standpoint, from the fact that even though they did have Sean Layden and Andrew House on stage, they were on stage for very little time, so I didn't have to listen to them for very long. I thought that they really just one game after another. I never felt like I was dwelling too much on any one thing, with the exception of Death Stranding. That did feel a little lengthy.
But Greg, they also had less to announce they had no hardware to announce, no
I'm not,
controller
I'm not,
updates,
I'm
no.
not
So there was
disputing
other
that.
stuff there that
I get
required
that. I get
speech and
that.
talk. Wasn't what?
Get that.
So
Just
the mic.
to me, from a pacing standpoint, from a
Mm.
show, I thought this was the most entertaining out of all of them. To me, this one held my attention, and I didn't feel any big lulls. I didn't feel any awkward moments for the most
Yeah.
part. It really did go really nicely, and hell, it was done in an hour. It started basically on time, and I think for that, I'm giving them the A minus.
Yeah, very good. It's very good. Excellent.
It was a good show. And so we wrap up with Nintendo, who was the following day.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm not going to go on talk about anything other than the one game that they wanted to talk about, which was Zelda. The Breath of the Wild. Is that the name of the old Zelda title?
Who the cow? Nobody cares.
It looked
Well-
like shite. It really did. It looked like crap. I'm
See,
sorry.
I disagree. I think this game looks fantastic.
I tried
think
to watch it and I can't.
it's Zelda. It's a stylized Zelda. It's a big open world. They finally have given stats to weapons within the Zelda world, so you're going to have weapons that degrade over time. I think this game rightfully got talked about a lot once people got their hands on it. I think it's going to be a really, really good title for Nintendo. Does it save Nintendo? Does it answer all their problems? No, not at all. But I thought Zelda stood out as one of the best titles that was shown off at E3.
It is very pretty, and it is going to supplicate all the fan boys and girls. But like you said, I don't know that it will ever. But Nintendo kind of does their own thing. I don't think they necessarily need rescuing. Sorry, I'm watching video too, and but it's probably one of the better Zeldas I've ever seen. So I'd give them props for that.
Rich, what do you think? Nintendo, I mean, we're not going to talk about any other games outside of Zelda unless you have one you want to talk about. I didn't find anything beyond that to be compelling.
The Pokemon stuff was decent. So if anyone's interested in Pokemon, they did talk a little bit about that separately. But with the Zelda stuff, I think like Nicole's right. I think this does look like one of the best Zelda games they've ever made. PC Gamer did an article that said that they've built an open world, system-based open world, which I think is their first one.
It's smart.
So this is an open world where like things interact with each other. There's stuff going on in the background. It's almost very Skyrim-like in a way.
Right.
And this I think is their first major go at that sort of thing. And the game looks beautiful. I think it's the Zelda game that people wanted Twilight Princess to be. I think I think it's going to be there, to be honest. And it's a shame that it took this long to make it, to be honest, because we've had Morrowind for fucking 15 years. Well,
Right.
a little bit longer than
All right, and you ready for this, Greg?
Yes.
I'd actually play that one.
I'm right there with you.
I would
that's-
actually play that Zelda.
That is one Nintendo game I would be interested to play.
Yeah, I think
I
we're
don't
gonna
know
have
how-
to pick Gary off the floor now.
Yeah, I know. I still don't know I buy a system for it, but
I would not. Yeah,
If I had it in front of me, hell yeah, I would play that game.
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't
The
think
world
we need
looks
to.
huge.
Yeah, the world does look huge. It does. And again, I think they've done some very interesting, smart things with the systems and play that they've never done before. This is not a final grade on the game. Maybe the game is utterly crap and they screw everything up. Maybe it is game of the year. Everything I've heard so far about people that have gotten hands-on with it, it is really good. So take that for what it is. I don't think, unless you guys think we should grade Nintendo, I mean, we've really only talked about one game from them. I don't think there's a point in grading them. They really didn't show up to E3 other than to show Zelda. So I don't think they were really part of the real equation.
Yeah, I think it was smart of them to do a Zelda thing, to be honest, because they've got fuck all else coming they don't want to talk about. So I think this
Right.
was smart, rather than just doing a thingy showing off amiibos and other crap no one cares about.
Right.
This was a smart move, I think. Massive gameplay demo of their biggest game of this generation, apart from Super Mario Maker.
Yeah. So that is E3. We have raced through it. We covered it all, guys. This is clocking in at 3 hours. So let us wrap things up and let you guys go to sleep over in the UK.
Thank you.
Let's do some shout outs real quick and get out of here. Nicole,
Okay.
start it up, please.
Well, for the few people that showed up in our chat and stayed there. Thank you to them. And to you, gentlemen. And I do hope that whatever's going on with Mark, that he feels better. And happy Father's Day to all you gentlemen, uncles,
Thank
dads,
you.
grandfathers. So, Robin.
Gary Lever, congratulations, sir. I believe he is in gainful employ. So that's great news. Mark, I hope everything's okay with me. Fraser, come on. Get it together. Come on. It's ridiculous, Canada. Flip me. Greg, thanks for having us on for the E3 stuff. And Rich for doing your work. So good night, everybody, and have a good and safe gaming week. We will speak to you next week.
Yeah. And Rich, any special shout outs you would like to give?
Yeah, shout out to the better half because we watched all the conferences together. She got up early so that we could watch the Sony one together in the morning.
That's a keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So yeah, fantastic job there, and it was a pretty good E3, and I think I'm interested in seeing where it's going. And thank you to you guys for doing a 3-hour show. Well,
I don't know if that's sarcasm or real, but you're welcome. Hey, thanks. Yeah, thank you to the three of you for taking time to do the E3 wrap up. Thanks to our listeners. Obviously, we wanted to cover E3. We thought about doing a midweek show, but this just worked out better timing wise for everybody said. And hey, we got it all in. We had all the conferences covered. If you don't know what happened at E3 after this, then you apparently just were not paying attention.
My name is Carlo Fassbender. I am here to adjust your appliances with my big tool.
And on that note, we're done. We're out of here. Go forward. Have a great week. And catch us next week because we're going to do our E3 prediction recap. Find out how good we were with our E3 predictions. See y'all later.
Laters.
Cheers.
bye.